The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is the world's second largest accounting and auditing body. The Abu Dhabi chapter of the Institute was formed in the year 1984. This chapter has proudly completed 3 decades of providing excellence. Since inception, it has been led by prominent chartered accountants in Abu Dhabi. The current chairman of the chapter, CA Suresh Panwar. The membership is open to all chartered accountants who are members of the parent institute ICAI and are residing in the UAE. The chapter has grown to over 650 members from its humble beginnings of around 50 members when it was formed. Professional and talented members of the chapter have provided their services to the local government and business communities and significantly contributed towards growth of the UAE economy. Our members are highly valued and occupy important positions in industry and the profession. The objective of the chapter is to provide continued professional enhancement to its members, and towards this end organizes seminars and events during the year that are addressed by leading subject matter experts. The chapter organizes professional development sessions covering technical skills and soft skills for the benefit of its members. We provide a platform where its members can meet, exchange views and interact professionally with other members, and also provides members with a forum to network both professionally and socially. The chapter provides professional training in IFRS, forensic accounting, advanced Excel sheet and Arabic courses to the members and corporate representatives. The chapter also organizes social events for the members and their families, and to provide a platform for them to interact socially and network as a part of the Social Responsibility Initiative. The activities related to professional development reach their pinnacle every year with the organization of the annual International Seminar, which has been a regular feature since the first event in October 1988. The International Seminar is addressed by leading industry and financial sector experts who share their insights and exchange ideas. The International Seminar is attended by over 700 members and guests. Some of the luminaries who have addressed the Abu Dhabi chapter include the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan bin Mabrak Al Nahyan, His Excellency Sachin Pilot, Mr. Narayan Murthy, Dr. Sam Petroda, KV Kamath, Robin Sharma, Chetan Bhagat, Shiv Khera, Sunil Gavaskar, Mohinder Amarnath, Gary Kirsten. The International Seminar is followed up with a gala dinner and a musical night featuring leading Indian singers. The gala dinner and musical night is attended by an audience of over 3,500 people, consisting of members, their families, VIPs, sponsors and invitees. Several star Bollywood playback singers and performers have performed at the musical concert during the previous years. This year, we will be entertained by Salim and Suleiman. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi chapter, welcomes you to its 29th Annual International Seminar 2017, themed Success Through Synergy. The speakers for the 29th Annual International Seminar are Mr. Shaktikant Das, Mr. Subhash Mundra, Dr. Anil K. Khandelwal, CA Amarjeet Chopra, Pujya Brahma Vihari Swami, CA Atul Kumar Gupta, Mr. Michael Armstrong, CA Thomas Pereira, Mr. Rahul Narayan, Mr. Saad Usmani, CA Padmanabha Acharya, CA Chintan Haria. The chapter awards Business Super Achiever Award to recognize outstanding Indian businessmen in the UAE and Excellence in Finance and Profession Award to recognize outstanding Indians in finance and profession. In 2013, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India instituted Best Overseas Chapter Award. Abu Dhabi chapter has been the proud winner of the award for the years 2013, 2014, 2015 and 2016, jointly with the Dubai chapter. A glimpse of the programs held is presented.
We now exist formally as the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi Chapter Limited. It is a private company limited by guarantee at the Abu Dhabi Global Market, which has just opened up for registration.
From a humble start with 24 registered members, and after 31 years, we are now independent and formally registered.
Today, with having such an institution being part of ADGM is where our ambition is taking us, and this is the start of the future.
But through it all, one element should remain constant: your character and your values. The world economy relies on the character of its accountants.
You have raised the image of India.
Mr. Narayan Murthy is building a company, and we are building a nation. Building a nation is very different from building a company.
Today, Abu Dhabi chapter and the other Middle East chapters have become role models for other chapters across the globe.
Let's see, when I learned that I was able to independently handle all those, that was the spark. I utilized that opportunity.
As long as you're straightforward and true to yourself, hard work, passion, you will succeed in that.
दुनिया में रहना है तो काम कर प्यारे, हर सुबह नया कोई काम कर यारे, वरना ये दुनिया जीने नहीं देंगी, खाने नहीं देंगी, पीने नहीं देंगी.
I think women are very special and they should be lauded for who they are.
Leaders must not demand respect. Leaders must earn respect, must command respect.
But if you look across the Emirates, what they've had is visionary leadership. People who have looked at their resources, who've allowed talent to flourish.
But you'll be surprised that the biggest businesses in the world right now are being run by people under 30.
I certainly felt that the players were feeling the pressure. So we never spoke about winning the World Cup throughout the 6 weeks. And we just said, if we play our best cricket, we'd be a tough team to beat.
When things are not going in your favor, you should not get dejected. I always believe when one door shuts, the other opens. But you have to keep trying and don't give up.
When I became CA, and I'm glad that I have my old friends here.
आज के डेट में जब लोग मुझे पागल और सनकी बोलते हैं तो मुझे खुशी होती है, क्योंकि मुझे उस पागलपन का मतलब समझ में आ गया है। जब आपके गोल के प्रति लोग आपको पागल बोलना शुरू कर दें, उसी दिन आप समझ लीजिए आपका गोल आपके बहुत करीब है, आपको कोई नहीं रोक सकता है।
That was amazing. But what got me that result? This. You call that motivation. I call that manipulation. Why? Because the problem is when this comes, we go up this way. This goes, we go down this way, comes up again this way, down again this way, and that's inconsistent. And whatever is inconsistent doesn't really work. That's what she was talking about.
When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world.
Dekh lakh lakh pardesi girl, ain't nobody like a desi girl.
Okay, keh rahi, jo na hum kahe.
मिल जाए कोई छोरी गाली हो या हो गोरी,
जिंदगी की बाजी लगा के मौत से खेलता हूँ जुआ।
तड़प के इस दिल से आह निकलती रही, मुझको सजा दी प्यार की, ऐसा क्या गुनाह किया तो लुट गए।
बादल गुजर जाने दे, अब जिंदगी को निखर जाने दे। तू ही मेरी शब है, सुबह है, तू ही दिन है मेरा। दुश्मन के छक्के छुड़ा दे हम इंडिया वाले।
The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is the world's second largest accounting and auditing body. The Abu Dhabi chapter of the Institute was formed in the year 1984. This chapter has proudly completed 3 decades of providing excellence, Since inception, it has been led by prominent chartered accountants in Abu Dhabi. The current chairman of the chapter, CA Suresh Panwar. The membership is open to all chartered accountants who are members of the parent institute ICAI and are residing in the UAE. The chapter has grown to over 650 members from its humble beginnings of around 50 members when it was formed. Professional and talented members of the chapter have provided their services to the local government and business communities and significantly contributed towards growth of the UAE economy. Our members are highly valued and occupy important positions in industry and the profession. The objective of the chapter is to provide continued professional enhancement to its members and towards this end organizes seminars and events during the year that are addressed by leading subject matter experts. The chapter organizes professional development sessions covering technical skills and soft skills for the benefit of its members. We provide a platform where its members can meet, exchange views and interact professionally with other members, and also provides members with a forum to network both professionally and socially. The chapter provides professional training in IFRS, forensic accounting, advanced Excel sheet and Arabic courses to the members and corporate representatives. The chapter also organizes social events for the members and their families, and to provide a platform for them to interact socially and network as a part of the Social Responsibility Initiative. The activities related to professional development reach their pinnacle every year with the organization of the annual International Seminar, which has been a regular feature since the first event in October 1988. The International Seminar is addressed by leading industry and financial sector experts who share their insights and exchange ideas. The International Seminar is attended by over 700 members and guests. Some of the luminaries who have addressed the Abu Dhabi chapter include the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan bin Mabrak Al Nahyan, His Excellency Sachin Pilot, Mr. Narayan Murthy, Dr. Sam Petroda, KV Kamath, Robin Sharma, Chetan Bhagat, Shiv Khera, Sunil Gavaskar, Mohinder Amarnath, Gary Kirsten. The international seminar is followed up with a gala dinner and a musical night featuring leading Indian singers. The gala dinner and musical night is attended by an audience of over 3,500 people, consisting of members, their families, VIPs, sponsors and invitees. Several star Bollywood playback singers and performers have performed at the musical concert during the previous years. This year, we will be entertained by Salim and Suleiman. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi chapter, welcomes you to its 29th Annual International Seminar 2017, themed Success Through Synergy. The speakers for the 29th Annual International Seminar are Mr. Shaktikant Das, Mr. Subhash Mundra, Dr. Anil K. Khandelwal, CA Amarjeet Chopra, Pujya Brahma Vihari Swami, CA Atul Kumar Gupta, Mr. Michael Armstrong, CA Thomas Pereira, Mr. Rahul Narayan, Mr. Saad Usmani, CA Padmanabha Acharya, CA Chintan Haria. The chapter awards Business Super Achiever Award to recognize outstanding Indian businessmen in the UAE and Excellence in Finance and Profession Award to recognize outstanding Indians in finance and profession. In 2013, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India instituted Best Overseas Chapter Award. Abu Dhabi chapter has been the proud winner of the award for the years 2013, 2014, 2015 and 2016, jointly with the Dubai chapter. A glimpse of the programs held is presented.
We now exist formally as the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi Chapter Limited. It is a private company limited by guarantee at the Abu Dhabi Global Market, which has just opened up for registration.
From a humble start with 24 registered members, and after 31 years, we are now independent and formally registered.
Today, with having such an institution being part of ADGM is where our ambition is taking us, and this is the start of the future.
But through it all, one element should remain constant: your character and your values. The world economy relies on the character of its accountants.
You have raised the image of India.
Mr. Narayan Murthy is building a company, and we are building a nation. Building a nation is very different from building a company.
Today, Abu Dhabi chapter and the other Middle East chapters have become role models for other chapters across the globe.
Let's see, when I learned that I was able to independently handle all those, that was the spark. I utilized that opportunity.
As long as you're straightforward and true to yourself, true to your family, hard work, passion, you will succeed in that.
दुनिया में रहना है तो काम कर प्यारे, हर सुबह नया कोई काम कर यारे, वरना ये दुनिया जीने नहीं देंगी, खाने नहीं देंगी, पीने नहीं देंगी.
I think women are very special and they should be lauded for who they are.
Leaders must not demand respect. Leaders must earn respect, must command respect.
But if you look across the Emirates, what they've had is visionary leadership. People who have looked at their resources, who've allowed talent to flourish.
But you'll be surprised that the biggest businesses in the world right now are being run by people under 30.
I certainly felt that the players were feeling the pressure. So we never spoke about winning the World Cup throughout the 6 weeks. And we just said, if we play our best cricket, we'd be a tough team to beat.
When things are not going in your favor, you should not get dejected. I always believe when one door shuts, the other opens. But you have to keep trying and don't give up.
When I became CA, and I'm glad that I have my old friends here.
आज खुशी होती है आपके आपको पागल बोल करीब है आपको कोई नहीं रोक.
Amazing. This call that motivation. Why? Because the problem this way comes up again this way, and whatever is inconsistent doesn't really work. That's what she was talking
When
about.
there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world.
देख लख लख परदेसी girl, ain't nobody like a desi girl.
आंखें कह रही जो ना हम कहे. मिल जाए कोई छोरी गाली हो या हो गोरी,
जिंदगी की बाजी लगा के मौत से खेलता हूँ जुआ.
तड़प के दिल से मुझको सजा दिया तो
गुजर दे. तू ही मेरी शब, तू ही दिल है मेरा. दुश्मन के छक्के छुड़ा दे हम इंडिया वाले.
The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is the world's second largest accounting and auditing body. It was formed in the year Excellence since in Abu Dhabi. The membership is open to Institute ICAI, and our chapter has grown to over 650 members from its humble beginnings of around 50 members when it was formed. Professional and talented members of the chapter have provided their services to the local government and business communities and significantly contributed towards growth of the UAE economy. Our members are highly valued and occupy important positions in industry and the profession. The objective of the chapter is to provide continued professional enhancement to its members, and towards this end organizes seminars and events during the year that are addressed by leading subject matter experts. The chapter organizes professional development sessions covering technical skills and soft skills for the benefit of its members. We provide a platform where its members can meet, exchange views and interact professionally with other members, and also provides members with a forum to network both professionally and socially. The chapter provides professional training in IFRS, forensic accounting, advanced Excel sheet and Arabic courses to the members and corporate representatives. The chapter also organizes social events for the members and their families, and to provide a platform for them to interact socially and network as a part of the Social Responsibility Initiative. The activities related to professional development reach their pinnacle every year with the organization of the annual International Seminar, which has been a regular feature since the first event in October 1988. The International Seminar is addressed by leading industry and financial sector experts who share their insights and exchange ideas. The International Seminar is attended by over 700 members and guests. Some of the luminaries who have addressed the Abu Dhabi chapter include the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan bin Mabrak Al Nahyan, His Excellency Sachin Pilot, Mr. Narayan Murthy, Dr. Sam Petroda, KV Kamath, Robin Sharma, Chetan Bhagat, Shiv Khera, Sunil Gavaskar, Mohinder Amarnath, Gary Kirsten. The International Seminar is followed up with a gala dinner and a musical night featuring leading Indian singers. The gala dinner and musical night is attended by an audience of over 3,000 their families, VIP by Salim and Suleiman. The chapter welcomes you to the 29th and 2017 success through synergy. International Seminar Brahma Vihari C. Mr. Rahul C. the UAE and Excellence in Finance and Profession Award to recognize outstanding Indians in finance and profession. In 2013, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India instituted Best Overseas Chapter Award. Abu Dhabi chapter has been the proud winner of the award for the years 2013, 2014, 2015 and 2016, jointly with the Dubai chapter. A glimpse of the programs held is presented.
We now exist formally as the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi Chapter Limited. It is a private company limited by guarantee at the Abu Dhabi Global Market, which has just opened up for registration.
From a humble start with 24 registered members, and after 31 years, we are now independent and formally registered.
Today, with having such an institution being part of ADGM is where our ambition is taking us, and this is the start of the future.
But through it all, one element should remain constant: your character and your values. The world economy relies on the character of its accountants.
You have raised the image of India.
Mr. Narayan Murthy is building a company, and we are building a nation. Building a nation is very different from building a company.
Today Abu Dhabi chapter and the other Middle East chapters have become role models for other chapters across the globe.
Let's see, when I learned that I was able to independently handle all those, that was the spark. I utilized that opportunity.
As long as you're straightforward and true to yourself, hard work, passion, you will succeed in that.
दुनिया में रहना है तो काम कर प्यारे, हर सुबह नया कोई काम कर यारे, वरना ये दुनिया जीने नहीं देंगी, खाने नहीं देंगी, पीने नहीं देंगी.
I think women are very special and they should be lauded for who they are.
Leaders must not demand respect. Leaders must earn respect, must command respect.
But if you look across the Emirates, what they've had is visionary leadership. People who have looked at their resources, who've allowed talent to flourish.
But you'll be surprised that the biggest businesses in the world right now are being run by people under 30.
I certainly felt that the players were feeling the pressure. So we never spoke about winning the World Cup throughout the 6 weeks. And we just said, if we play our best cricket, we'd be a tough team to beat.
When things are not going in your favor, you should not get dejected. I always believe when one door shuts, the other opens. But you have to keep trying and don't give up.
When I became CA, and I'm glad that I have my old friends here.
आज की डेट में जब लोग मुझे पागल और सनकी बोलते हैं तो मुझे खुशी होती है, क्योंकि मुझे उस पागलपन का मतलब समझ में आ गया है. जब आपके गोल के प्रति लोग आपको पागल बोलना शुरू कर दें, उसी दिन आप समझ लीजिए आपका गोल आपके बहुत करीब है, आपको कोई नहीं रोक सकता है.
That was amazing. But what got me that result? This. You call that motivation. I call that manipulation. Why? Because the problem is when this comes, we go up this way, this goes, we go down this way, comes up again this way, down again this way, and that's inconsistent. And whatever is inconsistent doesn't really work. That's what she was talking about.
When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world.
देख लख लख परदेसी girl, ain't nobody like a desi girl.
आँखें कह रही जो ना हम कहे.
मिल जाए कोई छोरी गाली हो या हो गोरी,
जिंदगी की बाजी लगा के मौत से खेलता हूँ जुआ.
तड़प के इस दिल से आह निकलती रही, मुझको सजा दी प्यार की, ऐसा क्या गुनाह किया तो लुट गए.
कि ये बादल गुजर जाने दे, अब जिंदगी को निखर जाने दे. तू ही मेरी शब है, सुबह है, तू ही दिन है मेरा. दुश्मन के छक्के छुड़ा दे हम इंडिया वाले.
The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is the world's second largest accounting and auditing body. The Abu Dhabi chapter of the Institute was formed in the year 1984. This chapter has proudly completed 3 decades of providing excellence. Since inception, it has been led by prominent chartered accountants in Abu Dhabi. The current chairman of the chapter, CA Suresh Panwar. The membership is open to all chartered accountants who are members of the parent institute ICAI and are residing in the UAE. The chapter has grown to over 650 members from its humble beginnings of around 50 members when it was formed. Professional and talented members of the chapter have provided their services to the local government and business communities and significantly contributed towards growth of the UAE economy. Our members are highly valued and occupy important positions in industry and the profession. The objective of the chapter is to provide continued professional enhancement to its members, and towards this end organizes seminars and events during the year that are addressed by leading subject matter experts. The chapter organizes professional development sessions covering technical skills and soft skills for the benefit of its members. We provide a platform where its members can meet, exchange views and interact professionally with other members, and also provides members with a forum to network both professionally and socially. The chapter provides professional training in IFRS, forensic accounting, advanced Excel sheet and Arabic courses to the members and corporate representatives. The chapter also organizes social events for the members and their families, and to provide a platform for them to interact socially and network as a part of the Social Responsibility Initiative. The activities related to professional development reach their pinnacle every year with the organization of the annual International Seminar, which has been a regular feature since the first event in October 1988. The International Seminar is addressed by leading industry and financial sector experts who share their insights and exchange ideas. The International Seminar is attended by over 700 members and guests. Some of the luminaries who have addressed the Abu Dhabi chapter include the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan bin Mabrak Al Nahyan, His Excellency Sachin Pilot, Mr. Narayan Murthy, Dr. Sam Petroda, KV Kamath, Robin Sharma, Chetan Bhagat, Shiv Khera, Sunil Gavaskar, Mohinder Amarnath, Gary Kirsten. The International Seminar is followed up with a gala dinner and a musical night featuring leading Indian singers. The gala dinner and musical night is attended by an audience of over 3,500 people, consisting of members, their families, VIPs, sponsors and invitees. Several star Bollywood playback singers and performers have performed at the musical concert during the previous years. This year, we will be entertained by Salim and Suleiman. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi chapter, welcomes you to its 29th Annual International Seminar 2017, themed Success Through Synergy. The speakers for the 29th Annual International Seminar are Mr. Shaktikant Das, Mr. Subhash Mundra, Dr. Anil K. Khandelwal, CA Amarjeet Chopra, Pujya Brahma Vihari Swami, CA Atul Kumar Gupta, Mr. Michael Armstrong, CA Thomas Pereira, Mr. Rahul Narayan, Mr. Saad Usmani, CA Padmanabha Acharya, CA Chintan Haria. The chapter awards Business Super Achiever Award to recognize outstanding Indian businessmen in the UAE and Excellence in Finance and Profession Award to recognize outstanding Indians in finance and profession. In 2013, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India instituted Best Overseas Chapter Award. Abu Dhabi chapter has been the proud winner of the award for the years 2013, 2014, 2015 and 2016, jointly with the Dubai chapter. A glimpse of the programs held is presented.
We now exist formally as the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi Chapter Limited. It is a private company limited by guarantee at the Abu Dhabi global market, which has just opened up for registration.
From a humble start with 24 registered members, and after 31 years, we are now independent and formally registered.
Today, with having such an institution being part of ADGM is where our ambition is taking us, and this is the start of the future.
But through it all, one element should remain constant: your character and your values. The world economy relies on the character of its accountants.
You have raised the image of India.
Mr. Narayan Murthy is building a company, and we are building a nation. Building a nation is very different from building a company.
Today, Abu Dhabi chapter and the other Middle East chapters have become role models for other chapters across the globe.
See, when I learned that I was able to independently handle all those, that was the spark. I utilized that opportunity.
As long as you're straightforward and true to yourself, true to your family, hard work, passion, you will succeed in that.
दुनिया में रहना है तो काम कर प्यारे, हर सुबह नया कोई काम कर यारे, वरना ये दुनिया जीने नहीं देंगी, खाने नहीं देंगी, पीने नहीं देंगी.
I think women are very special and they should be lauded for who they are.
Leaders must not demand respect. Leaders must earn respect, must command respect.
But if you look across the Emirates, what they've had is visionary leadership. People who have looked at their resources, who've allowed talent to flourish.
But you'll be surprised that the biggest businesses in the world right now are being run by people under 30.
I certainly felt that the players were feeling the pressure. So we never spoke about winning the World Cup throughout the 6 weeks. And we just said, if we play our best cricket, we'd be a tough team to beat.
When things are not going in your favor, you should not get dejected. I always believe when one door shuts, the other opens. But you have to keep trying and don't give up.
When I became CA, and I'm glad that I have my old friends here.
आज के डेट में जब लोग मुझे पागल और सनकी बोलते हैं तो मुझे खुशी होती है, क्योंकि मुझे उस पागलपन का मतलब समझ में आ गया है. जब आपके गोल के प्रति लोग आपको पागल बोलना शुरू कर दें, उसी दिन आप समझ लीजिए आपका गोल आपके बहुत करीब है, आपको कोई नहीं रोक सकता है.
That was amazing. But what got me that result? This. You call that motivation. I call that manipulation. Why? Because the problem is when this comes, we go up this way, this goes, we go down this way, comes up again this way, down again this way, and that's inconsistent. And whatever is inconsistent doesn't really work. That's what she was talking about.
When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world.
देख लख लख परदेसी girl, ain't nobody like a desi girl.
आंखें कह रही जो ना हम कहे.
मिल जाए कोई छोरी गाली हो या हो गोरी,
जिंदगी की बाजी लगा के मौत से खेलता हूँ जुआ.
तड़प के इस दिल से आह निकलती रही, मुझको सजा दी प्यार की. ऐसा क्या गुनाह किया तो लुट गए
कि ये बादल गुजर जाने दे, अब जिंदगी को निखर जाने दे. तू ही मेरी शब है, सुबह है, तू ही दिन है मेरा. दुश्मन के छक्के छुड़ा दे हम इंडिया वाले.
The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is the world's second largest accounting and auditing body. The Abu Dhabi chapter of the Institute was formed in the year 1984. This chapter has proudly completed 3 decades of providing excellence. Since inception, it has been led by prominent chartered accountants in Abu Dhabi. The current chairman of the chapter, CA Suresh Panwar. The membership is open to all chartered accountants who are members of the parent institute ICAI and are residing in the UAE. The chapter has grown to over 650 members from its humble beginnings of around 50 members when it was formed. Professional and talented members of the chapter have provided their services to the local government and business communities and significantly contributed towards valued in industry and the profession. The objective of the chapter is events during the professional development sessions, covering technical skills and soft skills for the benefit of its members. We provide a platform where its members can meet, exchange views, and interact professionally with other members, and also provides members with a forum to network, both professionally and socially. The chapter provides professional training in IFRS, forensic accounting, advanced Excel sheet and Arabic courses to the members and corporate representatives. The chapter also organizes social events for the members and their families, and to provide a platform for them to interact socially and network as a part of the Social Responsibility Initiative. The activities related to professional development reach their pinnacle every year with the organization of the annual International Seminar, which has been a regular feature since the first event in October 1988. The International Seminar is addressed by leading industry and financial sector experts who share their insights and exchange ideas. The International Seminar is attended by over 700 members and guests. Some of the luminaries who have addressed the Abu Dhabi chapter include the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan bin Mabrak Al Nahyan, His Excellency Sachin Pilot, Mr. Narayan Murthy, Dr. Sam Petroda, KV Kamath, Robin Sharma, Chetan Bhagat, Shiv Khera, Sunil Gavaskar, Mohinder Amarnath, Gary Kirsten. The international seminar is followed up with a gala dinner and a musical night featuring leading Indian singers. The gala dinner and musical night is attended by an audience of over 3,500 people, consisting of members, their families, VIPs, sponsors and invitees. Several star Bollywood playback singers and performers have performed at the musical concert during the previous years. This year, we will be entertained by Salim and Suleiman. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi chapter, welcomes you to its 29th Annual International Seminar 2017, themed Success Through Synergy. The speakers for the 29th Annual International Seminar are Mr. Shaktikant Das, Mr. Subhash Mundra, Dr. Anil K. Khandelwal, CA Amarjeet Chopra, Pujya Brahma Vihari Swami, CA Atul Kumar Gupta, Mr. Michael Armstrong, CA Thomas Pereira, Mr. Rahul Narayan, Mr. Saad Usmani, CA Padmanabha Acharya, CA Chintan Haria. The chapter awards Business Super Achiever Award to recognize outstanding Indian businessmen in the UAE, and Excellence in Finance and Profession Award to recognize outstanding Indians in Finance and Profession. 2013, the instituted Best Overseas Chapter Award. Abu Dhabi chapter has been the proud winner of the award for the years 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016.
We now exist formally as the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. It is a company limited by guarantee at the Abu Dhabi market, which is
from a humble start with 24 registered members, and after 31 years we are now independent and formally registered.
Today, with having such an institution being part of ADGM is where our ambition is taking us, and this is the start of the future.
But through it all, one element should remain constant: your character and your values. The world economy relies on the character of its accountants.
You have raised the image of India.
Mr. Narayan Murthy is building a company, and we are building a nation. Building a nation is very different from building a company.
Today, Abu Dhabi chapter and other Middle East chapters have become role models for other chapters across the globe.
Let's see, when I learned that I was able to independently handle all those, that was the spark. I utilized that opportunity.
As long as you're straightforward and true to yourself, true to your family, hard work, passion, you will succeed in that.
दुनिया में रहना है तो काम कर प्यारे, हर सुबह नया कोई काम कर यारे, वरना ये दुनिया जीने नहीं देंगी, खाने नहीं देंगी, पीने नहीं देंगी.
I think women are very special and they should be lauded for who they are.
Leaders must not demand respect. Leaders must earn respect, must command respect.
But if you look across the Emirates, what they've had is visionary leadership. People who have looked at their resources, who've allowed talent to flourish.
But you'll be surprised that the biggest businesses in the world right now are being run by people under 30.
I certainly felt that the players were feeling the pressure. So we never spoke about winning the World Cup throughout the 6 weeks. And we just said, you know, if we play our best cricket, we'd be a tough team to beat.
When things are not going in your favor, you should not get dejected. I always believe when one door shuts, the other opens. But you have to keep trying and don't give up.
When I became CA, and I'm glad that I have my old friends here.
आज की डेट में जब लोग मुझे पागल और सनकी बोलते हैं तो मुझे खुशी होती है, क्योंकि मुझे उस पागलपन का मतलब समझ में आ गया है। जब आपके गोल के प्रति लोग आपको पागल बोलना शुरू कर दें, उसी दिन आप समझ लीजिए आपका गोल आपके बहुत करीब है, आपको कोई नहीं रोक सकता है।
That was amazing. But what got me that result? This. You call that motivation. I call that manipulation. Why? Because the problem is when this comes, we go up this way, this goes, we go down this way, comes up again this way, down again this way, and that's inconsistent. And whatever is inconsistent doesn't really work. That's what she was talking about.
When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world.
देख लख लख परदेसी girl, ain't nobody like a desi girl.
आंखें कह रही जो ना हम कहे, तुझको है और दिल मेरा है, अब दिल हाँ कोई छोरी
मुझको प्यार की क्या गो
तू ही दिल है मेरा, दुश्मन के छक्के छुड़ा दे हम इंडिया वाले।
we welcome our chief guest, our guest of honors. May I request all members to please be seated. Can one of our committee member please ask members and delegates standing outside to come in the hall? Priyanka. Members, please settle down. We'll soon start the session. May I request members and delegates outside the hall to please come in. request again, everyone, please be seated. We are starting the session now. Good evening, everyone. My name is Neeraj Ritolia, and I am the Secretary of the chapter. On behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi chapter, it's my honor and privilege to welcome you all. This is 29th Annual International Seminar with the theme Success Through Synergy. Chief guest, His Excellency Abdullah Ali Musleh Al Ahababi, Chairman, Abu Dhabi Water and Electricity Authority. Guest of honors, Her Excellency Mrs. Smita Pant, Deputy Chief of Mission, Embassy of India. And His Excellency Muhammad Abdul Jalil Al Fahim, Chairman Al Fahim Family Council. Atul Gupta, Chairman, Board of Studies, ICAI, representing ICAI. Esteemed guests, dignitaries, and fellow members. Thank you all for coming together to grace this wonderful event. I'm very delighted to announce the beginning of 2 days information and synergy-driven conference followed by our members, supporters, and guests present here. This is indeed a great evening to succeed through synergies. Through the and played a crucial role in GST implementation. Mr. Das will speak on the reforms in India. Mr. Rahul Narayan, Fleet Commander, Team Indus, he will take us through the private Indian journey to the moon. Mr. Saad Usmani, Head of Corporate and Commercial Treasury, Commercial Bank of Dubai, will give an update on global economy and financial risk management. Tomorrow we have a fantastic line of speakers. Mr. Brahma Vihari Swamiji, Dr. Anil Khandelwal, former Chairman, Bank of Baroda, a renowned HR guru. Mr. Subhash Mundra, former Deputy Governor, RBI. He will address on success through financial synergy. We have a very interesting panel discussion on the future of accounting profession by CA Amarjit Chopla, past President, ICAI, CA Atul Kumar Gupta, Chairman, ICAI Board of Studies, CA Thomas Pereira, Chief Financial Officer, Commercial Bank of Dubai, Mr. Michael Armstrong, Regional Director, Middle East, Asia, and South Africa of Institute of Chartered Accountant of Wales and England and Wales. This session will be moderated by our own past Chairman, CA Padmanabhacharya, whose partner, Deloitte, Abu Dhabi. The last session will be on an insight on the Indian equity story by renowned fund manager of ICICI Pro Mutual Fund, CA Chintan Haria. We hope that all the delegates and members attending this conference will benefit from the experienced speakers. Apart from this learning, there is a great networking opportunity for all chartered accountants present here. Some housekeeping announcement. 10 hours CP has been approved, and I hope that all have registered. Those who haven't can do it after the event, please. Please keep your mobile on silent mode or switch off for better listening. We'll appreciate if you can keep your questions for the later part, for uninterrupted session. There are a lot of prizes, raffle draws to be won, and early bird prizes as well. So the delegates here can win big during these 2 days. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm confident and I hope that these 2 days of seminar will give you an opportunity to interact with various professional colleagues and have fun tomorrow with Salim Suleiman. Now, can I request CA Priyanka to please play the chapter profile video.
The Institute of India is the world's second largest accounting and auditing body. The Abu Dhabi chapter of the Institute. This chapter government and business communities significantly economy. Our members organize seminars and events during the year that are addressed by leading subject matter experts. The chapter organizes professional development sessions covering technical skills and soft skills for the benefit of its members. We provide a platform where its members can meet, exchange views, and interact professionally with other members, and also provides members with a forum to network both professionally and socially. The chapter provides professional training in IFRS, forensic accounting, advanced Excel sheet and Arabic courses to the members and corporate representatives. The chapter also organizes social events for the members and their families, and to provide a platform for them to interact socially and network as a part of the Social Responsibility Initiative. The activities related to professional development reach their pinnacle every year with the organization of the annual International Seminar, which has been a regular feature since the first event in October 1988. The International Seminar is addressed by leading industry and financial sector experts who share their insights and exchange ideas. The International Seminar is attended by over 700 members and guests. Some of the luminaries who have addressed the Abu Dhabi chapter include the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan bin Mabrak Al Nahyan, His Excellency Sachin Pilot, Mr. Narayan Murthy, Dr. Sam Petroda, KV Kamath, Robin Sharma, Chetan Bhagat, Shiv Khera, Sunil Gavaskar, Mohinder Amarnath, Gary Kirsten. The International Seminar is followed up with a gala dinner and a musical night featuring leading Indian singers. The gala dinner and musical night is attended by an audience of over 3,500 people, consisting of members, their families, VIPs, sponsors and invitees. Several star Bollywood playback singers and performers have performed at the musical concert during the previous years. This year, we will be entertained by Salim and Suleiman. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi chapter, welcomes you to its 29th Annual International Seminar 2017, themed Success Through Synergy. The speakers for the 29th Annual International Seminar are Mr. Shaktikant Das, Mr. Subhash Mundra, Dr. Anil K. Khandelwal, CA Amarjeet Chopra, Pujya Brahma Vihari Swami, CA Atul Kumar Gupta, Mr. Michael Armstrong, CA Thomas Pereira, Mr. Rahul Narayan, Mr. Saad Usmani, CA Padmanabha Acharya, CA Chintan Haria. The chapter awards Business Super Achiever Award to recognize outstanding Indian businessmen in the UAE and Excellence in Finance and Profession Award to recognize outstanding Indians in finance and profession. In 2013, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India instituted Best Overseas Chapter Award. Abu Dhabi chapter has been the proud winner of the award for the years 2013, 2014, 2015 and 2016, jointly with the Dubai chapter. A glimpse of the programs held is presented.
We now exist formally as the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi Chapter Limited. It is a private company limited by guarantee at the Abu Dhabi Global Market, which has just opened up for registration.
From a humble start with 24 registered members, and after 31 years, we are now independent and formally registered.
Today, with having such an institution being part of ADGM is where our ambition is taking us, and this is the start of the future.
But through it all, one element should remain constant: your character and your values. The world economy relies on the character of its accountants.
You have raised the image of India. Mr. Narayan Murthy is building a company, and we are building a nation. Building a nation is very different from building a company.
Today, Abu Dhabi chapter and the other Middle East chapters have become role models for other chapters across the globe.
See, when I learned that I was able to independently handle all those, that was the spark. I utilized that opportunity.
As long as you're straightforward and true to yourself, true to your family, hard work, passion, you will succeed in that.
दुनिया में रहना है तो काम कर प्यारे, हर सुबह नया कोई काम कर यारे, वरना ये दुनिया जीने नहीं देंगी, खाने नहीं देंगी, पीने नहीं देंगी.
I think women are very special and they should be lauded for who they are.
Leaders must not demand respect. Leaders must earn respect, must command respect.
But if you look across the Emirates, what they've had is visionary leadership. People who have looked at their resources, who've allowed talent to flourish.
But you'll be surprised that the biggest businesses in the world right now are being run by people under 30.
I certainly felt that the players were feeling the pressure. So we never spoke about winning the World Cup throughout the 6 weeks. And we just said, if we play our best cricket, we'd be a tough team to beat.
When things are not going in your favor, you should not get dejected. I always believe when one door shuts, the other opens. But you have to keep trying and don't give up.
When I became CA, and I'm glad that I have my old friends here.
आज की डेट में जब लोग मुझे पागल और सनकी बोलते हैं तो मुझे खुशी होती है क्योंकि मुझे उस पागलपन का मतलब समझ में आ गया है। जब आपके गोल के प्रति लोग आपको पागल बोलना शुरू कर दें, उसी दिन आप समझ लीजिए आपका गोल आपके बहुत करीब है, आपको कोई नहीं रोक सकता है।
That was amazing. But what got me that result? This. You call that motivation. I call that manipulation. Why? Because the problem is when this comes, we go up this way, this goes, we go down this way, comes up again this way, down again this way, and that's inconsistent. And whatever is inconsistent doesn't really work. That's what she was talking about.
When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world.
देख लख लख परदेसी girl, ain't nobody like a desi girl.
आँखें कह रही जाना हम कहे और दिल मेरा अब दिल हाँ ना तो कोई अरमान ना कोई तमन्ना ना कोई
मिल जाए कोई छोरी गाली हो या हो गोरी
मैं जिंदगी की बाजी लगा के मौत से खेलता हूँ जुआ
तड़प के इस दिल से आह निकलती रही मुझको सजा दी प्यार की ऐसा क्या गुनाह किया तो लुट गए
कि ये बादल गुजर जाने दे अब जिंदगी को निखर जाने दे तू ही मेरी शब है सुबह है तू ही दिल है मेरा दुश्मन के छक्के छुड़ा दे हम इंडिया वाले
Now I request our chairman, CA Suresh Panwar, and CA Atul Kumar Gupta, Chairman, Board of Studies, ICAI, to please welcome and escort our chief guest, His Excellency Abdullah Al-Ahababi, Chairman, Abu Dhabi Water and Electricity Authority. And guest of honor, His Excellency Mohammad Abdul Jalil Al-Fahim, Chairman, Al-Fahim Family Council, to the lamp lighting area, please. I request Shilpa Governor, Mrs. Smita Pant, Deputy Chief of Mission Embassy, to the lamp lighting area. Request CA Dr. Bern Van Linder, CEO of Commercial Bank of Dubai, our title sponsor. Thank you all for your support. Lighting of lamp. There is a huge significance of lighting the lamp in Indian culture. It symbolizes leading someone from darkness to light, leading to positivity, spreading knowledge and peace. Now I request all dignitaries to please come on the dais. And And everyone, please rise for national anthem. We'll have a national anthem of UAE, India, and CA anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
य एष सुप्तेषु जागृति य एष सुप्तेषु जागृति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्द्वैता 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 एतद्द्वैता
Please be seated. Now I request our chairman, C.A. Suresh Panwar, to give his welcome address.
Synergy is what happens when 1 + 1 = 10 or 100 or even 1,000. His Excellency Abdullah Ali Musalla Al-Ahbabi, Chairman of Abu Dhabi Electricity and Water Authority, and the Acting Under Secretary of the Department of Finance, Abu Dhabi Government, His Excellency Abdul Muhammad Abdul Jalil Al Fahim, Chairman, Al Fahim Family Council, Her Excellency Mrs. Smita Pant, Deputy Chief of Mission, Embassy of India to the UAE, CA Atul Kumar Gupta, Chairman, Board of Studies and IT Committee, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Dr. Bernd van Linder, Chief Executive Officer, Commercial Bank of Dubai, our Chairman from our overseas chapters of ICAI, CA Ajay Agrawal, who flown all the way from London, CA Naveen Sharma, CA Manu Mehra, CA Uday, CA Mubin Khan, past Chairman of Abu Dhabi chapters, past Chairman of Dubai chapter, sponsors, representatives, students from various schools, our future CAs, distinguished guests, members and fellow committee members. It is a great honor and privilege for me to welcome you all to the 29th Annual International Seminar under the theme, Success Through Synergy. The Abu Dhabi chapter is in its 4th decade of existence, continues to live up to its mission of excellence by winning the Best Overseas Chapter Award, joint winner for the 4th consecutive year from the parent body ICAI. I would like to thank all the members, sponsors, and especially to all the committee members for their extraordinary support in achieving this prestigious recognition once again. Every individual that comprises a team has different ways of doing one thing, and synergy among them does not mean giving up. It means joining to co-create, so each one is able to receive even more of what attracts us through joining rather than opposing. Teamwork is more than just working together to get things done. It is about achieving results that are much greater than the sum of each person's contribution. Leadership is also intertwined with followership and synergies of efforts and performance. This inspires all of us, and that's how the theme of this year's annual international seminar, Success Through Synergy, was conceived together by the committee. The 29th Annual International Seminar brings together a variety of synergies through speakers and discussion on various topics. I would like to welcome all these members and guests from UAE, GCC, and other parts of the world to the seminar and thank for your time and presence at the seminar. We hope that the knowledge of various synergies achieved here would stay in your memories for a long time. The arising of the new technologies and the changes in governance and politics, like implementation of VAT in the UAE, etc., need through knowledge and synergy of efforts of support, synergy of effort to support business vision. The synergies are brought together towards the common aim of improving and strengthening ICAI brand and the benefit of the Abu Dhabi chapter. It's the result of the synergy between the chapter and its sponsor that an amazing initiative has been undertaken from this year to provide a full-term scholarship to a student to pursue and complete his or her whole CA curriculum. My sincere thanks to Mr. Sahul Agrawal for this noble initiative. I am confident that this seminar will help us to clear our vision of how success can be achieved through synergy. I am also sure that my professional colleagues, members and non-members, and each individual attending this seminar will find it rewarding and professionally enriching. Following our tradition of continuing to create a fun and professional workplace side by side, we have a live in concert by Salim Suleiman along with their troupe to mesmerize the crowd with their foot tapping numbers at the end of our technical session. We are sure to utilize our synergies so that the ICAI Abu Dhabi chapter continues to host excellent events in the future, also for the benefit of members and supporters, and we look forward to your continuous support and patronage. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude for the support that the chapter receives from all over the UAE, the UAE government, the Indian Embassy, our parent institute, our past chairmen, of sponsors, speakers, members, and last but not the least, the significant contribution of our committee members. Before concluding my speech, I would like to quote from Stephen Covey. Synergy is better than my way or your way. It's our way. Thank you.
Now I request our chief guest, His Excellency Abdullah Ali Al Hababi, to address our members. Can we have His Excellency's video, please?
Ali Musleh Al Ababi. His Excellency Abdullah Ali Musleh Al Ababi is the chairman of Abu Dhabi Water and Electricity Authority, ADWEA, and the acting Undersecretary of the Department of Finance, Abu Dhabi Government. He is a board member of Abu Dhabi Pension Fund and Abu Dhabi Environment Agency. He is also the chairman of Abu Dhabi Sewerage Company, ADSSC, in addition to being the board member in some other Abu Dhabi state-owned entities. His Excellency Al Ababi holds a master's degree in business administration or MBA from Hull University in the United Kingdom in 1997, a bachelor's degree in business administration from Augsburg College in the USA in 1988.
Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Chairman, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's great honor for me to be here today as chief guest at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi, Chapter 29 Annual Seminar. It's indeed my privilege to be at this unique gathering which brings together key representatives and experts from various financial institutions on a most timely theme of common interest, that is success through synergy. The theme of this event reflects growing recognition and importance of bringing formal financial organization together to facilitate interaction between subject matter expert and to share their knowledge and experience with all attendees of this conference. The importance of such event is further amplified in the prevailing economic conditions that are having their toll on the financial market, indicating fragility of local economies worldwide. UAE has a special place even among the Gulf countries due to its diverse cultures, business-friendly atmosphere, willingness to invest in other economics, and its important role in maintaining peace and stability in the region. In the energy sector, we at Abu Dhabi Water and Electricity Authority have established a very strong governance system across our group companies to achieve the strategic themes to become a top quartile utility performer worldwide by 2020. In our quest to provide the community with a sustainable supply of water and electricity and to manage ever increasing demand of electricity and water due to the rise of population and expanding economy, UAE has adopted a clean and renewable energy mix, in addition to natural gas, which will cover our growing needs. To achieve energy efficiency and conservation, we have introduced the demand-side management, enabling customers to make more informed decisions about their energy consumption. ADWEA strategy targets to reduce the per capita water and electricity consumption by 20% by 2030. Success through synergy means achieving a mutually conducive and profitable outcomes through collaboration and harnessing of resources and efforts. This seminar provides such platform for business and professional community to come together and exchange their ideas to achieve success in their respective endeavors. I once again thank Mr. Suresh Panwar, the chairman of IC, and wish you all
for your encouraging. Our parent body of ICAI is represented by CA Atul Kumar Gupta, Chairman, Board of Studies, and I request CA Atul Gupta to please welcome CA fraternity in Abu Dhabi.
A very respected our past president, C. Amarjit Chopra ji, my guru, His Excellency, the chief guest, Abdullah Ali Musalla Al Ahwabi, His Excellency Muhammad Abdul Jalil Al Fahim, Madam, His Excellency Mrs. Smita Pant, Suresh ji, our chairman of Abu Dhabi chapter of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, along with his entire team of Ashish ji, Neeraj ji, Shilpa ji, Dr. Bernard van Linder, and the chairman of the various chapters from the different part of the world who joined this very, very important conference of Abu Dhabi chapter, the galaxy of the former chairman, Mundra Saab, Shashikant ji, from our former Secretary Economic Affairs, RBI, former RBI Governor Saab, all the distinguished personalities, respected seniors, friends, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I have this proud privilege to welcome all of you on behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India in this 29th International Conference organized by the Abu Dhabi chapter of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Let me take this opportunity to just introduce you about the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, though we are all chartered accountants, but with the passage of time, since we are far away from our parent land, so there are these new developments which is happening. His Excellency just wish to update you that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India was way back established set up under the Act of Parliament on the 1st July 1949, even before the constitution of our country was adopted. The institute, which was started with only 1,200 members, now reached to a level that when we have more than 280,000, that is 280,000 members who are rendering the services not only in India, but across the globe. There are more than 30,000 chartered accountants who are outside the country rendering the services in the different part of the world. And with a small base of students, today I'm proud, I have this proud privilege to tell you that we have more than 8 lakhs, that is 800,000 students who are pursuing their career in the institute, with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And that is there is a reason for the same, that every year, whenever we are organizing, they are qualifying the exam and we are organizing the campus placement. The students are at a national level getting an average salary of more than 10 lakhs rupees, and at the international level even reaching to a level of 75 lakhs per annum. I just wish to update you, all the members here, that the institute, which was started with the head office at Delhi, now having a presence of more than 165 branches across the country. overseas. And we have this race of the education is becoming the money and the money is becoming the education. I just wish to share with you, this is a proud privilege again, that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India course, that is our CA course, is the most economical course of this world. And even a student is paying only 50 to 60,000 rupees only for the entire 4 years and 5 years, along with the other sponsorship schemes and others are available. And that is the beauty of this course, that you are, while contributing towards the social empowerment, the economic development of the country, you are pursuing a course, and in that course also you are getting a stipend wherein which you can match with this, whatever the 50,000, 60,000 rupees you have to pay while doing the internship with your own employer. This small hierarchy, just with chartered accountants, brothers and sisters here, that His Excellency, the former President of India, APJ Abdul Kalam Sahab, once mentioned that the chartered accountants are the partner in nation building. And now with this present government, with this BJP government, the Modi Sarkar, we used to say, as only one organization which is being recognized as the institutional partner for the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is the Institute. Sir, there is a long list which I can share with you, the proud and that all the achievements of the ICAI, but just to summarize you, that whenever there is any economic development, any bringing any new law, whether it is a GST or any other law in the country, there is always a Chartered Accountant Institute which is shouldering with the Government of India to see that whatever the best contribution we can do, whatever the capacity building when we can do, that the ICAI should be pioneering. And that's why even we have initiated a new, I will say, the activity to recognize, to see that how the accountancy profession can contribute to the overall economic development of the world. You are aware that the UN, recently the UN in 2015 signed the 17 goals of sustainability development, and that's why the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is pioneering to contribute in that particular UN goal of sustainability development as well. And that's why tomorrow, that is 10th of November, being this special program is being organized, that will be treated as a World Accounting Education Day, and this is being approved by the SAFA board also, is being pioneered by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and there will be a special session on the same. So with this small introduction of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, once again I welcome all of you on behalf of our Honorable President, Sir, Vice President and the entire Council, and our Honorable, even the Past President, C. Amarjit Chopra ji, to each one of you in this wonderful 29th International Conference of Abu Dhabi Chapter of ICAI. Please welcome, I again welcome each one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, CA Atul Kumar Gupta, for a fantastic perspective of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Now I request our guest of honor, Her Excellency Mrs. Smita Pant, to address our members, please. Can we have the intro?
Smita Pant, Deputy Chief of Mission, Embassy of India, Abu Dhabi. Mrs. Smita Pant is a career diplomat. She has served in various capacities in the Indian missions in Madrid and London. In the Ministry of External Affairs, New Delhi, she has handled work relating to India's relations with Afghanistan, European Union and UK, and Bangladesh. Before joining as DCM at Embassy of India, Abu Dhabi, she was Consul General of India, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Mrs. Pant holds a master's degree in clinical psychology. Her areas of interest include philosophy, international politics, and psychology. She speaks Hindi, English, and Spanish.
Good evening. His Excellency Abdullah Ali Musleh Al Ababi, Chairman of Abu Dhabi Water and Electricity Authority and the Acting Under Secretary of Department of Finance, His Excellency Muhammad Abdul Jalil Al Fahim, Chairman Al Fahim Family Council, CA Atul Kumar Gupta, Chairman Board of Studies and IT Committee, Chairman AD Chapter Sri Panwar, and Dr. Bern von Linder, CEO of Commercial Bank of Dubai. It is such a pleasure to be here at such an august gathering impressive chapter, as Mr. Atul Kumar Gupta, during the course of my conversation with him, said that Abu Dhabi and Dubai are two of the proudest chapters for him. So a big round of applause for all of you. I'm very impressed with the range of topics being covered and the quality of expertise that has been brought in at this two-day conference. And next time, may I please request Chairman to also include issues relating to the ever-growing bilateral relationship between India and UAE. Friends, I'm just 2 weeks old in Abu Dhabi, and since my arrival, I have felt the dynamism of the bilateral links between our two countries. So in last 2 weeks, we've had the visit of Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Minister of State for External Affairs, His Excellency, Mr. M.J. Akbar visited twice. He had his visits back to back. We have had several ministerial delegations from various states of India. And currently, as I speak today in front of you, Minister of State from Ayush is attending the first ever international conference on Ayush being held in Dubai. And that's the reason Ambassador could not attend the event today, and he sends his best regards. You would all know that India and UAE enjoy comprehensive strategic partnership. What does that mean? That means that the relationship is multifaceted. It means that the relationship is ever-growing. It is strong. It is diverse. It is strategic. It is based on mutual trust, and indeed gets encouraged by events like this held today. We are, of course, enthused by the contribution of the Indian professionals towards UAE's growth and prosperity, and also in being lovely bridges between our two great countries. Success through synergy, a very, very thoughtful theme, and I do feel that qualitative and sustainable success is only achieved through synergies, through synergizing, and through cooperation. So, not taking much of your time, may I wish you all a very synergized, successful conference. I will try attending as many sessions I can. Thank you.
May I request Chairman CA Suresh Panwar and Treasurer CA Shilpa Gandhi to hand over a memento to Ms. Smita Pant, please. Thank you, ma'am. Now I'll request our guest of honor, His Excellency Mohammad Abdul Jalil Al Fahim, to address our members. Can we have His Excellency's video, please?
His Excellency Mohammad Abdul Jalil Al Fahim was born in 1948 in the city of Al Ain, Emirate of Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. After completing his education in England, he joined the family business in 1968 and helped in diversifying the business by opening its doors to various fields: real estate, automotive, industrial projects, travel and tourism, agriculture, to name a few. Mohammad A.J. Al Fahim has occupied several honorable positions that allowed him to contribute in the development of the capital. He was a board member at the telephone company, the Council for Water and Electricity, as well as chairman of the National Investment and Securities Corporation, NISCORP, and first vice president of the Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Presently, he is on the supervisory board of Al Fahim Group and chairman of Al Fahim Family Council and board member of Emirates Insurance Company, in addition to board member of a number of organizations. He was invited to speak in a number of universities in UAE, USA, and other countries. He won the Gulf Chief Executive Award in 1995 and Arab Business Excellence Award in 2007. His bestseller book, From Rags to Riches, A Story of Abu Dhabi, published in English, was translated into its Arabic, French, Japanese, German, Italian, Russian, Spanish, Polish, Urdu and Malayalam versions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Your Excellencies. I wasn't really prepared to say a speech. I thought I was only brought here to have coffee. But, now that I'm standing in front of you, I would like to thank you for inviting me here today. And since I am actually working with a lot of you as partners in our business and as professional, I don't feel really a stranger here, because I feel you are part of my family. I would like you, or I wish you success in your meetings, and I wish you all the best. And I would like to thank you for holding your seminar and meeting in our family hotel. And you are welcome. Thank you.
Chapter Mononto, Mr. Excellency Al-Faqih. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Krishnan. I am the PDC leader for this prestigious chapter. It's my honor and pleasure to welcome you all for the 29th Annual International Conference of this prestigious chapter themed as Success Through Synergy. It's time for us to unveil the brochure. May I request all the dignitaries and Mr. John and Amit to join with us in unveiling the brochure of our chapter for the year 2017. As have agreed to sponsor and every additional student in order to see our community. May I request Mr. Shagul to come over to the stage to hand over the certificate. ladies and gentlemen, we have lined up for excellent session for the next 2 days. May I request all the dignitaries to take over their seat. One more announcement for the benefit of our chapter members, CBD, which is running a special promotion campaign for the next 2 days. May I request all the members, if they would like to know more interest about the promotion, please contact the CBD desk, which has been kept outside. The first speaker of today's session is going to be Mr. Shaktikant Das. May I request Ms. Priyanka to play the video of Mr. Shaktikant Das.
Positions in the areas of finance, taxation, industries, investment and infrastructure, both in the central and state governments. On a superannuation, Mr. Das recently retired from service after a distinguished career of 37 years. Mr. Das has served in the Ministry of Finance, Government of India for 9 years in various capacities. He was associated with the preparation of 8 union budgets. As Revenue Secretary, he played an important role in breaking the stalemate between the centre and the states on GST, paving the way for amendment to the Constitution of India. Mr. Das played an important role in renegotiating the various bilateral tax treaties and spearheaded various tax reforms. As Secretary Economic Affairs, Mr. Das played a very crucial role in key reform measures like FDI liberalization, Aadhaar legislation, reforms in fertilizer, kerosene and LPG subsidies, enactment of the insolvency and bankruptcy law, etc., to name a few. Mr. Das literally became the face of the Government of India during demonetization and played a key role in its planning and implementation. He has initiated important measures for promoting digital transactions in India. Mr. Das served as India's alternate governor in the World Bank, ADB, NDB and AIIB. He represented India in international fora like the IMF, G20, BRICS, SAARC, etc.
Before I hand over the stage to Mr. Das for his session, I would like to share one of his videos which has been very popular post-demonetization. On the post-demonetization, he was giving a press conference along with Honorable Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. One of the journalists from my own place, Tamil Nadu, asked a question in Tamil. Everybody was surprised. Everybody was looking at the other people, and Mr. Shaktikant Das answered them in Tamil so fluently, and that upload video has become so viral, and everybody in Tamil Nadu remembers Mr. Shaktikant Das as the man of demonetization, the face of demonetization. May I request all of you to join and with me in welcoming Mr. Shaktikant Das to enhance us with a speech on India, the path of transformation.
Good evening, Chairman ICAI Abu Dhabi Chapter, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely happy to be participating in this two-day event which the ICAI Abu Dhabi Chapter has arranged, and to see all of you present here in such large numbers. Obviously, it goes a long way to show the kind of work that the Abu Dhabi Chapter is doing. 2 months ago, I also participated in an event which was held, which was organized by the ICAI Bahrain chapter, and subsequently I got the invitation for this. I readily agreed. Mr. Amarjit Chopra is a very persuasive person and transformation. And path of transformation over the last several decades. I am not using the word checkered in a negative sense or anything like that, but the path of transformation has been sometimes very fast, and sometimes it has not been as fast as it should have been. But nevertheless, the country has progressed over the last 70 years. We started with, just to give a brief backdrop in just 3 to 4 minutes, we started with the backdrop of the 5-year plans of the 1950s and 60s, which established the preeminence of the public sector in India. Now, the results were mixed. On the one hand, for a newly independent country which had behind it 200 years of colonial rule, which resulted in Indian economy becoming highly impoverished. And the other day I was reading a book about the evolution of Indian economy. And at the time in 1757, when Robert Clive, he fought all those wars in India and established the British supremacy in India. At that time, the share of England in the world GDP was just about 3%. And the share of India, there was no calculation of GDP those days, but what they call the gross economic product or something of that sort. The share of India was as high as 25%. So here was a 3% share, a country having 3% share of world GDP, world economic output, coming and occupying a country of 25%, which had a share of 25% in the world economic product. Now, naturally, when the country became independent, the country was highly impoverished, and the preeminence of public sector was established as a result of the 5-year plans. They produced mixed results. On the one hand, for a poor country, it established the basic economic base in terms of heavy engineering, in terms of setting up multi-purpose multi-purpose hydroelectric projects. But at the same time, I think somewhere along the line, it did not give the kind of incentive it should have given to private entrepreneurship. We had in the 60s the Green Revolution, which produced self-sufficiency in food grains. Green Revolution helped India to get out of the problem of going for all those PL 480 and all those food programs with the assistance of the United States. It established self-sufficiency in food grains for India. But at the same time, if you recollect, Green Revolution focused mostly on cereals, on rice and wheat. Prior to that, the poor people of our country were used to taking various kinds of other grains like bajra, maize, and what were called those days called the cheaper variety of food. Now, those so-called cheaper variety actually gave the much required nutrition. So while Green Revolution ushered in self-sufficiency in food grains, somewhere down the line it also created a nutritional deficiency in the average or in the below average, economically below average Indian population. We had in the 70s the bank nationalization. I mean, most of it was played out in the 70s, and it was perhaps necessary for a developing economy to nationalize the banks and to so that the banks fulfill their social obligations And this also helped in a way to create a new class of entrepreneurs who would not have been able to access credit if the banking sector had been dominated entirely by by certain select families. But again, somewhere down the line, while bank nationalization played certain important role in the development of country for some time, but somewhere along the line, I think it created certain governance issues which became a challenge for the entire banking sector subsequently in the subsequent decades in India. And today we have, therefore, before us a situation where the banks require a major reform, not only in terms of capital infusion by the banks, not only in terms of new instruments for restructuring the various bad loans that the banks have sanctioned over a period of time. Now, there are various reasons for that. I'm not blaming anybody for that, but it also, the entire we have therefore reached in a position, and I'm happy to point out that the government is now, government has stated very clearly that they will be undertaking governance reforms and other kind of reform measures in banks. Now, this is the kind of path of transformation that India has seen over the last 7 decades. I have just tried to touch some 3 or 4 major highlights during these 60 or 70 year period. Now, economic reforms, which really accelerated the path of transformation of India, as you all know, it started in 1991. And the biggest reform of 1991 was something which happened outside the budget. It happened by way of delicensing of industries. The then Prime Minister, Mr. Narasimha Rao, was the industries minister, and just I think 1 or 2 days before the budget, he brought in delicensing of industries. And that opened up, that unleashed a whole lot of energy which was inherent in Indian private sector, which was waiting for that opportunity to sort of invest and to contribute its might and to contribute its best for the growth of the Indian economy. There were other market-oriented reforms which were also undertaken in the budget which was presented that year in 1991, and in the subsequent few years there were various other kinds of reforms which were undertaken. There were mostly market-related, market-oriented reforms. The whole objective was to create a market-related economy and remove the kind of regulatory framework that we had. We had also during that time the devaluation of the rupee, which was again driven by the government, the finance ministry, and the Reserve Bank of India. The devaluation of the rupee happened, and that obviously gave a boost to the Indian export sector. Now, 1991 and the period thereafter, the process of reforms has been unidirectional. It has never reversed. Whatever reforms have been undertaken have always moved forward. But then the pace of reforms after 1991 were not uniform. Sometimes the speed was very high, sometimes the speed was not as high, and it slightly slowed down. It also, I think, was an outcome of the kind of political formation that we saw several coalition governments coming. So therefore, I think perhaps the government of the day was not able to undertake the kind of reforms that India so badly required. So therefore, the reform moved along, always unidirectional, but at a relatively slower pace. And I must mention here that the last 3 years, that is 2014 to 17, the country has witnessed a period of a very high acceleration in the path of economic transformation. If we are talking of path of transformation in India, I think the kind of changes which have come about in the last 3 years in India, we have not seen that kind of change over the last 3 or 4 decades. And I was very fortunate to have been in the finance ministry as Secretary Revenue and also thereafter as Secretary Economic Affairs. And I was really fortunate to have been associated very closely with some of the major reforms. And I was also fortunate not just having a ringside view, but perhaps I was inside the ring. So therefore, I was very fortunate, and I think the kind of reforms the country has seen in the last 3 years, I would like to reiterate again, is something which the country has not seen over the last 20 or 30 years. Now, this acceleration of the speed of economic acceleration of the path of reform that we saw in the last 3 years, I think it is best captured in the current year's budget speech of the finance minister, which he delivered on 1st of February. As you know, the budget date has now been advanced from the last, from 28th or 27th February, that is the last working day of February, to 1st of February, and henceforth, the budget, the expectation is that the plan as of now is that the budget will be presented on the 1st of February. Now that achieves a certain objective, because before 31st of March, when you close the financial year, and before 1st April, when you begin a new financial year, your entire budget is passed. Earlier what was happening is that the budget had a kind of a fragmented, which was for 2 months expenditure, well into past. So the 1st of February 2017, when the finance minister presented the budget, he highlighted that the key theme of this year's budget is to transform, energize, and clean India. Transform, energize, and clean India, tech India. So the intention was to transform, to energize and unleash the forces of growth, and also to produce, also to have a kind of a economy which is clean and which is cleansed of lot of deficiencies that the economy has experienced over the last several years. And in particular, he highlighted that the approach of the government in this path of transformation would be basically to usher in a policy and system-based administration where there is no scope or no room for discretions, to bring in objectivity and transparency in government decision making, to shift from loose and blanket entitlements, especially in the form of subsidies, like petrol subsidy, for example, which was, which the benefit of which was enjoyed by somebody who was driving the most expensive car or the SUV on the road, as well as by somebody who was driving a two-wheeler, a moped, or a scooter. So the idea was to shift from blanket and loose entitlements to targeted delivery of government subsidies and government support, and to shift from informal to a formal economy. So these were the kind of objectives which the finance minister has mentioned. So if you put all of this together into a basket and try to see what emanates, what comes out of it, basically three things. He is talking of transparency, objectivity, system-based administration, targeted delivery of services, shift to a more formalized economy. So the focus clearly is on three broad themes. The focus is on governance. The focus of this path of transformation which India has adopted is on governance, number one. It is on inclusion, that is on inclusive development, number two. And third, and very important, is to bring in a market-oriented and competitive economy. So basically in the next half an hour or so, I will be highlighting on these three major areas, that is the kind of transformation which India is witnessing in the areas of governance, inclusion, and market-oriented and competitive economy. In the area of governance, a very important thing which has come about, which one sees now, is a greater cooperation between the central government and the state governments. Notwithstanding the political debate, notwithstanding the political slugfest which goes on in a very vibrant and active democracy as in India, which is bound to be there, notwithstanding that, let me mention that at the working level, there is excellent cooperation between the center and the states. And the classic example of this was the bringing in of the GST legislation, the amendment to the Indian constitutions for bringing about GST, and to sort of pass the various legislation relating to GST in the parliament. And in the parliament, the passage of the GST was a unanimous decision of the entire parliament. So therefore, at the working level, there is excellent cooperation. There is a kind of a competitive and cooperative federalism which is now developing in India, and which is very good for the country, because unless you have that kind of cooperation between the center and the states, you cannot grow as a country. Most of the programs, a mention was made here about Swachh Bharat. Most of the programs, whether it is Swachh Bharat or it is Make in India, you name any program, Housing for all these programs cannot succeed unless the states also cooperate, unless the states also actively participate in implementation of those programs. Because implementation ultimately lies and it is vested with the state governments. And even in the case of the ease of doing business, where India has now jumped from 142nd rank to 130. Last year we were 200 to 100 this year. Last year we were 130. This year India has attained the 100th rank. So India was 142, it then jumped to 131, then 130, and this year it is 100. Now this kind of development will not be possible unless again you have active cooperation between the center and the states. Because most of the criteria for determining your ease of doing business, they pertain to areas which remain in the domain of the state governments. Whether it is giving permissions for building constructions or to start a construction of a industrial factory, whether it is property registrations, whether it is ease of payment of tax, all the things also are very much in the domain of the state government. So unless therefore you have that kind of cooperation, the governance in India as a whole cannot improve. And I'm happy to point out that we have today a very healthy, cooperative and competitive federalism which has been brought about in India. Even as we discuss here today, the GST Council is meeting today and tomorrow at Shillong, and again, all the finance ministers of states are a part of the GST Council, as you know, chaired by the Union Finance Minister, and we can expect some very positive decisions out of the two-day deliberations which they are having today and tomorrow. At least personally, I am quite hopeful, and I'm quite sure that they will come out with many positive changes relating to the GST, which I will refer to later on. The second key aspect of governance, elimination of any kind of discretion, and to bring in system-driven, principle-driven policy action. Or all kinds of, take the example of, for instance, the allocation of natural resources, whether it is coal or it is spectrum. Now we have a process of auctions being conducted, electronically conducted auctions, and again, there is no discretion, there is no scope for any kind of favoritism. The third aspect of, again, change of governance that we are seeing is decision making has become very fast, especially at the central government level. We found at one time, and I have seen it over the years, a proposal would be initiated and then it would go for interministerial consultations, a committee would be constituted, the committee would give the report, another round of interministerial consultations. It used to take a lot of time. Today, I am happy to point out that the entire process has been fast-tracked and decisions are taken very fast. I can mention the example of FDI liberalization, for instance, and from my personal experience, I can say that when certain suggestions were made by our department and by the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, two departments we met and then we initiated a proposal, and thereafter the entire process of consultation, decisions, even including the decision at the Prime Minister's, at the Finance Minister and Prime Minister's level, the whole thing happened so fast that within about 2 to 3 weeks, we were able to announce a whole lot of FDI liberalization in November 2015. It was again followed up by another dose of reforms, FDI liberalization in March 2016. There are so many examples, I can go on and on giving these examples, but then, it's not necessary. Basically, I have made the point. The other area where, again, governance is today witnessing a kind of transformation is with regard to institutional changes. Even in areas like, for example, the interest rate setting, the fixation of the interest rates which is done by the Reserve Bank of India. Now, the monetary policy and monetary policy management is entirely in the domain of the Reserve Bank of India. Now we have a monetary policy committee which has been established by amending the Reserve Bank of India Act, and there is a monetary policy committee which recommends the kind of interest rates which India should have, with of course a casting vote given to the Governor of Reserve Bank of India, because ultimately the accountability for monetary policy lies at the doorsteps of the central bank. So you have an institution of the MPC. Then you have the institution of, for example, the budgeting used to be a huge institution, and we had earlier a fragmented kind of budgeting. We had a railway budget, we had a union budget, and the synergy between the two was sometimes, was not understood by the average citizen. And railway budget year after year meant that the railway minister was expected to announce new trains, some more railway stations, some more passenger halts, some more, facilities. So therefore, the focus on railways was getting lost. From this year onwards, the railway budget and the central government's budget, they have been merged. Now, it may appear as a very, sort of inconsequential kind of change. But I must mention that the kind of institutional change which this has brought about and its impact are enormous. It's enormous because you will recall that the kind of development that we have seen, for example, in the highways sector, starting with the Golden Quadrilateral, which was launched, I think, sometime in 99, 2000, and thereafter, the Golden Quadrilateral and the kind of road building that India has experienced, we have not seen anything of that sort in the railways. Now, that's because the highway sector became it was the central focus of the union budget, and the entire attention was on that. Railway sector, on the other hand, since it was a separate budget, the focus was on populist announcements of starting new trains and starting, making a train, express train, which was stopping, let us say, earlier in 10 places. You announce 3 more halting stations, make it 12 or 13 halts, and slow down the speed of the express train, slow down the track utilization. You make the track utilization of railways inefficient, and you compromise in efficiency. So, therefore, by merging the railway and the union budget, what has been achieved is that railways have now been brought to the center of governments, it has become the central focus area of government's fiscal policy. Or for that matter, take the example of the elimination of the so-called plan and non-plan expenditure classification. Now, a plan expenditure was traditionally considered as good, a non-plan expenditure was traditionally considered as bad. So if you had a school which was old, let's say school was established, the building was constructed and the school was established, let's say 15 years ago, the expenditure is non-plan. And because it is non-plan, the perception is that non-plan expenditure should be reduced. So irrespective of whether the school had adequate number of teachers, irrespective of whether the school building needed repairs very badly, it did not get the kind of attention it required. Whereas if it's a new school you are going to start, immediately the money gets sanctioned, teacher posts were getting sanctioned because that was supposed to be planned. So the so-called plan, non-plan artificial distinction was leading to an inefficient allocation of resources, and that got corrected once we abolished this classification of plan and non-plan. If you need to provide teachers in our primary schools, then you need to look at what is the strength of the primary schools, what is the strength of teachers, how many more teachers are required, and this I am saying both at the central and at the state government level. So the institutional changes are now being brought about. Then let's talk about, again, while we are talking of governance, another major area has been this entire direct benefit transfer backed by the Aadhaar, which has been launched, and it's a really game-changing reform that has been brought about. We had earlier ghost beneficiaries. We had same person having multiple time subsidy benefits, the same persons utilizing LPG, subsidized LPG, having multiple connections. people who don't deserve to get LPG subsidy, you know, people like you and I, we were also getting subsidized LPG. We were also getting petrol and diesel. So petrol and diesel, fortunately, has now been, deregulated, and the prices are determined by the market. But because of direct benefit transfer backed by Aadhaar, what Aadhaar seeks to achieve is that it allocates a biometric identity-based number to every person living in the country. Aadhaar is not a proof of citizenship. Citizenship is a different issue. Aadhaar is a proof that you are a resident of India, and that's it. Then with that number, the intention is that you should get government benefit or government subsidy only once, and it cannot be sort of, you cannot get it twice, you cannot get double benefits. And Aadhaar has enabled the government also to transfer many subsidies directly to the bank accounts of the individuals. So this whole Aadhaar legislation which has been brought about, I think it has brought about a whole lot of change in administration, because the kind of discretion which was there, the leakage and the, when the benefits were flowing down, when subsidies are given out, the leakage was always very high. So Aadhaar-backed direct benefit transfer, Aadhaar-backed subsidies have ensured that the loophole down the road has been plugged, and the misuse of this facility by lower level functionaries or middle level functionaries or other kinds of functionaries has almost completely stopped, or is in the process of getting stopped. So I just gave some random examples to say that when we are talking of the path of transformation, we often talk only about economic reforms, we only talk of GST, we only talk of certain other kind of financial sector reforms, but I think without referring to the changes that India is experiencing in governance, us to appreciate the kind of transformation that we are witnessing. One more example which I would like to mention, with which I was personally associated, was the Foreign Investment Promotion Board. Now in the FIPB 2 years ago, we introduced an online method. Earlier the physical application had to be given in the North Block, and if there are any queries, the questionnaire will go, then somebody from the company would come and try and explain to our officers. We did away with all that. We have a portal, and in the portal the applications were filed online. The examination was done online, and if there were any questions or queries to be asked or any additional details to be sought from the applicant, the questions were sent online, the replies were received online, and we actively discouraged companies or FDI applicants to visit North Block, that is, which houses the Finance Ministry in Delhi. They were discouraged from visiting, and in fact we did not get any visitor on foreign direct. The whole process online and process, the kind of reforms that were Foreign Investment Promotion Board. And today we have 30 crore new bank accounts, nearly 30 people who did not know what a bank is and who had no access to banking facilities. You have 30 crore new bank accounts. And the total deposits, the last figure I saw, and if I remember correctly, is about 60,000 crore deposits. When the whole scheme was launched, it was feared that perhaps most of these accounts will remain zero balance accounts and will not have adequate quantum of money, but total deposits are about 60,000 crores. Then we have the Mudra scheme, which are basically small loans given to small entrepreneurs. We have the electrification of the villages. There were 18,000 18,000 villages which did not have electricity facilities, and 2 years ago government launched this program, and the target is to complete this entire program by May 2018. In other words, by May 2018, every village in India would be electrified. And the next step to that is that within a village, to ensure that electricity facility is available in every household. That is a program which has recently been announced by the Prime Minister, and they have kept a target date of 2 years to complete this program. Then you have the rural roads program, which got accelerated, you know, what we call the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, the rural roads program. That has also got activated now. Earlier date of completion was 2021. Now the rural road, the PMGSY, the entire targeted date of completion is 2019. And we were fortunate, we were discussing in the morning today, in fact, when the oil prices started going down. Now, government had the option of passing on the entire benefit to the consumers. But Government of India took a three-pronged up, you know, there was a tripartite sharing of the benefit of the falling oil prices, the falling crude prices. One part was taken by the oil companies to make up for their past losses. That was for some time, not perennially. Another part was passed on to the consumers. And the third part, the government mobilized, mopped up by way of additional cess on petrol, and goes into programs like the rural roads projects. So it is the evaluation of GSY. 60% of the population are still based, you know, they are dependent on agriculture, and they live in rural areas. So if you are talking of transformation, India on the path of transformation, you have to necessarily change rural India, because that is where India lives. And unless you change rural India, unless you transform rural India, the kind of income inequality which we have in our societies all over the world, that income inequality will increase. And you need to transform rural India also. So therefore, the second kind of transformation that India is witnessing is with regard to inclusion. Now, the third area I mentioned, which I would be highlighting, is, you know, while talking of transformation, is that India is now, you know, it was already a market-oriented economy, but I think the entire thrust of government policies, you know, so many policy measures are being taken by government, whether it is the GST or it is the insolvency and the bankruptcy code or the other kind of reforms. Now, what it tries to achieve, if you see it in an isolated manner, bankruptcy and insolvency and bankruptcy code is meant only for this and their problems with, you know, or if you look at GST, it is something of transformation along the path of transformation and making it more market opposite package. For the last result, the fiscal deficit of the government is well under control. There was a path of fiscal consolidation which has been spelled out by the government, and the government is sticking to that path of fiscal prudence. The current account deficit is also at about hovering around 2%. It was less than 1% last year, but then oil prices seem to be going up. We have to see how they play out. And current account deficit is also very much within acceptable limit. In 4%, the targeted inflation is 4%. That is the mandate which is given to Reserve Bank of India by way of amending the Reserve Bank of India Act. The targeted rate is 4% plus minus 2. So therefore, the target is a range of 2% to 6%, and the inflation currently is little below, it's below 4%. The last figure that I saw, it was 3.66. So, first, finally, the growth figures, the GDP figure witnessed 7% plus growth over the last 3 to 4 years. Last quarter, the growth became 5.7%, but I would like to believe, based on certain facts and based on clear understanding of how the situation is, I would like to believe that this is only a transient phase. It is the effect of post GST effect, and as it will sort of it will ease out, and the sort of the growth will again be back. So therefore, the macroeconomic parameters will have to be essentially robust, and we have a robust macroeconomic parameter. The second key theme behind a market-oriented and competitive economy is that we have to, the country is now on its way to becoming a clean and an economy where the real economy grows at the expense of the so-called shadow economy, or what we call the parallel economy. And the measures that the government has taken, I mentioned earlier about the objective of the government, that we are moving from an informal economy to a formal economy. I think the measures that have been taken in this regard are the series of measures against prevalence of black money, the entire initiative relating to demonetization and the introduction of GST. So measures against black money, demonetization and GST will have to be again seen as one composite package, one comprehensive plan to usher in the impact, to usher in the real economy at the expense of the informal and the shadow economy. In black money, as you know, several steps have been taken. I am not going into the details of that. The renegotiation of the tax treaties with Mauritius, with Cyprus, with Singapore, the signing of the multilateral convention for automatic exchange of information. Then there is the Benami Transaction Act. Then there was the income disclosure scheme and all that. The second measure, which was a very big measure, was demonetization of the old 500 and 1000 rupee notes. Now, there has been a lot of debate over the last 1 year over this whole exercise, and yesterday happened to be the first anniversary of demonetization. So therefore, all the television channels were full of discussion, and there was a lot of debate. There is a lot of debate. Some debate is political, some debate is economic, some debate is emotional. Now, to keep the politics, emotions, economics you cannot keep out, but keeping out all these factors, if you look at demonetization, now what did it try to achieve? Demonetization, the first and foremost objective was that it sought to eliminate the impact, the presence of, it sought to eliminate the long shadow of the parallel economy and give a boost to the real economy. If you listen to the utterances if you listen to the speech of the Prime Minister or the Finance Minister or some of us who were interacting with the media in the early part, this was the key theme that was being highlighted. Their focus was to eliminate the impact of parallel economy, to eliminate black money, corruption, counterfeit currency, which went into a lot of terror funding. Now, the criticism against demonetization has been that almost everything came back, that 99% of the notes came back. Now, that's not the point. The objective of demonetization was to extinguish black money. Black money, through demonetization, could be extinguished in two ways. One, by way of notes which did not come back to the banks, because if it doesn't come back, it becomes a scrap of paper, and then that extinguishment is instant. The second is money which comes back into the banking system and thereby loses its anonymity. 1,000 rupee note doesn't carry anybody's name. It doesn't carry my name, it doesn't carry your name. It doesn't belong to me, it doesn't belong to you. The physical possession has to be established, but otherwise there is no linkage between an individual and 1,000 rupee note. But the moment that note comes into somebody's bank account, that note loses a name attached to that note, and then there is a trail established. And that trail needs to be investigated. The investigations are on, and I'm quite confident that in the next 2 to 3 years, and in fact, a lot of action has been taken in this regard. You know the action which has been taken against some 300 shell companies. There are some shell, of course, which should not, which perhaps government needs to have a relook, and I'm sure the government will take a relook because some of them were doing active, they had active business operations, but there are only very few. But you had, 3 lakh, there are 3 lakh shell companies and which have been used to sort of to launder money or to sort of deposit money in the banks. Now, naturally, they cannot escape because the money name as prima facie suspect. And the investigations, everything distinguish black money, not returning those that the money comes back and loses it as black. So therefore, demonetization sought the presence of black money also at the flow, together with taking to fight the problem of black money. So therefore, attacked market-oriented economy, because GST seeks to create one India, one market. It seeks to bring in efficiency. It seeks to create a low-cost economy because of input tax credit being available. It creates a fast, it makes our economy much faster, much speedier. To just give an example, the cost of logistics is significantly going down. As per estimates, before GST, on an average, a truck took about 48 hours at various checkposts, when it was moving from, let's say, Ludhiana to Kolkata or from Kolkata to Chennai. 48 hours was wasted at checkposts. Now that the checkposts have gone, each truck is able to save 48 hours. And you would be able to move perishables far more efficiently. So therefore, GST, apart from creating a kind of low-cost economy, apart from making Indian manufacturing more competitive, will also make our logistics and our transportation of cargo much more efficient. GST and demonetization together will definitely widen the tax base, and the net outcome of all these measures is that India's competitiveness, it's not just ease of doing business, it's also the competitiveness of Indian business and Indian industry which needs to grow. So therefore, friends, when we are talking of India on the path of transformation, we need to look at all these aspects of the India story that we have today. GST has several challenges. There are certain corrections which are required, especially with regard to easing the compliance burden, and I'm quite sure that today or tomorrow, these meetings which are held or the subsequent meeting, a lot of changes will be brought about. The other aspect of creating a competitive market-oriented economy is ease of doing business, I have mentioned, is the liberalization of FDI. Today, almost every sector is in the automatic route, excepting just about 3 or 4. The FDI limit, or as we call the FDI cap on sectoral investments, which are capped at 26% or 49% or 74%, they have all been liberalized. The process is today, in most of the cases, it is automatic. As a result, more than 90% of the FDI today comes into India without requiring any approval from anyone. It comes through the automatic route. And that is why the government was emboldened to abolish the FIPB. So the FDI liberalization has made a significant impact on India's investment scenario. Last year, for the first time, India got more FDI than even China. We got about $60 billion US, and which was higher than that of China. And the FDI, there is a criticism, I must mention here, some of you may be thinking that, well, a lot of FDI is going to buy out the existing promoters. Now, so be it. Part of it is definitely going to buy out. Promoter is being bought out. Existing promoter is either settling his bad to replow it, he's going to plow. FDI has been a major change. And the other, you will know that the earlier provisions in the company law has been brought about. The main legislation is to ensure resolution of insolvent or bankrupt. The first focus, durational, who would be managing the company, and insolvency and bankruptcy code, the appraisal of all the loan applications will have to be very, very strict and will have to be very, will have to be done very correctly. So apart from that, we have the direct tax reforms which have been undertaken. The corporate taxes are being brought down to 25%. Tax administration is being made non-intrusive. The assessment, the tax refunds, the filing of returns, everything is now done, is being done in a online, it is being done online so that the physical interface, the physical by processes. Still, it is a system which is developing. A lot of ground has been covered over the last 3 years. Lot of, this is a work in progress. So to summarize what I have said, I think India is changing. India is changing for the better. India is experiencing faster reforms than ever before. We are now on a faster road towards transformation. The country is now experiencing, and as a result, the GST was made that the small and medium enterprises have suffered almost endeavor based on. So therefore, changing relating to growth. There are challenges relating to fixing the bank NPA problem, which is a major challenge. There are challenges relating to labor reforms, which are done at the state level, but issue of job creation, although there is no statistics, jobs are not getting, but automation as strong as it was, because today than I should have, but let me to answer. Thank you.
As you not just on side.
Started around January, February of 2016, and then various options were examined, and then obviously you cannot announce such a decision as a part of your budget, because it needs a lot of preparation, it needs a lot of preparatory time, and so therefore it was decided that it has to be done separately after the budget, because you need to prepare yourself properly. And one or two things I must mention about demonetization, although it has been clarified time and again, but I think it needs to be explained again, because still people raise those questions. I see in television debates or elsewhere, still those questions were, the first question is you are sort of eliminating 1,000 rupee notes. Why did you bring 2,000 rupee notes? A very valid point. By printing 2,000 rupee notes, the argument was in favor of 2,000 rupee notes is that it ensures faster remonetization, that it ensures faster replacement of the currency in terms of value which you are taking out of the system. Same quantum of notes, same number of notes, if you print 2,000 rupee notes, you are printing double the value. So if you print, let us say, 1 lakh pieces of 1,000 rupee notes, you print a particular value. If you print 2,000, then you are printing double the value. But I can assure you the focus, and this is something which was explained even during that time, the focus will be on lower denomination currency notes, lower denomination bank notes, like the 500 rupee notes. Now the 200 rupee notes, they have been released by the Reserve Bank very recently. More of it will now come into the market slowly. So the focus will be on 500 rupee notes, on 200 rupee notes, will be on 100 rupee notes. 2,000 rupee notes will remain, at least as it stands today. I mean, there was a rumor that government will probably abolish 2,000 rupee notes, but as long as I was there in the government, there was no such thinking, because you cannot go on doing that. It creates, it creates unnecessary disruption and unnecessary sort of, it creates, the credibility issues will also be there. So there was no such, as long as I was there in the government, there was no such thinking whatsoever. But the focus will be on supplying more of 500 and lower denomination notes. Now this is one example. The other example I would give, Mr. Mundra is here, he would know. Now people ask, look, the group completely faltered and you did not plan properly. You could have recalibrated the ATMs earlier, because we reduced the size of the notes. So therefore the ATMs will had to be recalibrated, because each ATM contains 4 cases, and each case contains, like earlier I think they were putting 100 rupee notes in 1 or 2 cases, and the others were 500 rupee notes. So those were for larger size notes. So you have to take out that and replace them. You have to buy new cases. Now, if you do recalibration, then it would have definitely raised a suspicion. And even 1 week or 15 days before the, the announcement, we again deliberated. And there was long discussion whether we should do it. Then finally we concluded that our people are very intelligent, extremely intelligent. Recalibrating the, then you will definitely, it will do all kinds of speculation by reducing the size of the nodes. So each and every decision had a particular reason, and this has been explained time and again. And people say that, you sort of, it was badly planned, ill executed and all that, but I can, having seen it and having dealt with it, I can say that all aspects were examined. There were some surprises. Nobody is saying that there were no surprises. But all aspects, almost all aspects were examined. Take the case of indelible ink, for example. Now, it was discussed that what if, the same persons will come back again and again, and he will not come, the poor persons will not come himself with his own, they will be used cash, put those in at the time of the deals in the banks. So we thought we will not do it. But 1 week into the demonetization exercise, it did not require any great intelligence or any video footage to see what's happening when we were going around, when our officials were going around. They saw the same persons coming again. They were starting, in fact, established labor, the use of indelible ink. Mention some of this. I have understood. So I would not like to go into that, what he has saying or what somebody is saying. He has written a lovely what the government is doing to manage change, and our laws are very complex, and there is a there's a need to sort of simplify and to synergize various
slightly
laws.
Different, if you may allow me to bring this point up. I was coming to the Aadhaar point. The Aadhaar has come that the non-residents don't need a Aadhaar. But if you have a HUF bank account, or if you have an HUF mutual fund, the database doesn't recognize it as Aadhaar of the current speed of the Aadhaar coming up, very valid, very good. But the other...
So, for example, GST. It created difficulties especially for the smaller entrepreneurs and for the small businesses. Now, why it happened is, for example, let's say fixing the rates was that we don't know what is the central excise paid on a television.
Securities, Mr. Lakshmipati. Do we have Mr. Lakshmipati here? Any representative from Burjeel Securities? Burjeel Hospital, our next sponsor for the evening. Dunia Finance. Who can collect the memento? Taylor. Do we have Mr. T.K. Raman here who can collect on his behalf? Any representative from Finance House who can collect the memento, please? Mr. Shafiq, please. Gargash Insurance representative, Mr. Shrikuttan. Can I request to please keep the applause going? Mr. Manoj.
Right there, left में लग रहा है,
MCA Auditing, Mr. Hanuman or Mr. Venkatesh if they are here. Mr. Girish Kumar. Productivity representative, Ms. Alice Short. UAQ, Free Trade Zone Authority, Representative Mr. Johnson George. Do we have anybody here from UAQ, Free Trade Zone Authority? Thank you for your attention. May I request Priyanka to please play the sponsor's video for us.
Seminar 2007 Commercial Bank of Platinum sponsor Al Fahim Group, NMC Healthcare, Jeel Hospital, Dunya Finance, Emirates Float Glass, Finance House, Gargash Insurance, Global Wings, MCA Auditing, Protivity, Royal Orchid Group, Sahul Group, UAQ Free Trade Zone Authority, Airline Partner, Jet Airways, Radio Partner, Radio Mirchi, Print Partner, Khalij Times.
Our title sponsor, Commercial Bank.
The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Abu Dhabi Chapter, welcomes you to its 29th Annual International Seminar 2017, themed Success Through Synergy. Our sponsors are Title Sponsor, Commercial Bank of Dubai, Platinum Sponsor, Al Fahim Group, NMC Healthcare, Gold Sponsor, MK Group, UAE Exchange, Silver Sponsor, First Abu Dhabi Bank, Jasani Gifts, Premier Sponsors, ADNIC, ADMMI, Al Nasser Industrial, Apparel Group, Ardent Advisory, futuristic technologist creator. He leads the team which is engineering path-breaking solutions for tomorrow's challenges. Part of the World Economic Forum Global Futures Council for Space, not only is he a policy member, he's an active contributor on the global narrative on new space.
And race them to the surface.
Money to reinvent, we get to space, how we get to demystify this entire concept of a lunar before.
The aerospace will reach the next phase to go.
Making history drives people
The prize money is than what it is. That's the challenge. You have the caliber.
Growing up back then in India, it was, you'd look at this and you'd wonder, would there ever be a day when I would be able to do something like this, when I'll be able to go out there and reach for the stars? Anybody who doesn't recognize this, reverse question. Anybody who doesn't recognize the person on the screen? No, you don't recognize? Okay. Anybody on social? That's Elon Musk, right? You've seen the Tesla cars, you've seen SpaceX rockets that land back. Let's say Elon Musk, and if you go home and ask kids, I'm sure each one of them would relate him to Iron Man, if not anything else. Any ideas on what this is? It's not from your industry. It's not fair for me to ask the question, but it obviously looks like a satellite. Obviously looks like it's being built in India. It's built in Bangalore. This was Chandrayaan-1 being assembled in Bangalore. So, just some of the motivations, some of the cultural influences that was going through my mind when I happened to stumble upon an international competition. It's a competition which is sponsored by Google. It's managed by X Prize, and it has a two-line problem statement. Land on the moon, move 500 meters, send back evidence that you've done so. Line number 2 states you have to do it while you're 90% privately funded. So this was not about, a team going to Department of Science and Technology and saying, we need a few hundred crores. If we manage to do it, great. If we don't do it, we'll send you a paper why we weren't able to do it. So the challenge is for disruptive ways of thinking of financing very expensive, very complex missions, and not just financing, but to also engineer the mission itself. So that was back then. That was when Team Indus started in early 2011. It was 30 teams at that time, 30 international teams, with the only team from India. It was a usual distribution, half American, 1/3 European teams, one-off teams from Japan, India, Brazil, so on and so forth. It's now down to 5 teams. There are only 5 teams left in this competition today. Have a means to get to the moon, but so they're sharing the ride on board our spacecraft. So we're carrying the Japanese team with us. All these WhatsApp is that, this whole startup thing about disruption. So that's the other side of the coin, which is the whole startup thing about disrupt things and do away with the past and, what disruption means. Benefited immensely. Trade, in case you missed it in the trying to build a spacecraft, there are only 3. I usually use it to do a pop and most written there, but only the moon. The Russian Americans back, China is next 6 months. I know you understand numbers. I mean, you're all CAs, you understand numbers, you can manage numbers, but bear with me on the next 3 slides. Of mass, 4 wheels, come time, and we need to build to that end date. The judges came back again in October, and they wanted to review preparedness 6 months before launch. That's part of our mandate, part of what is required to be done. And this time we had about 7 of them come down, spend 1 full week at our Bangalore facility, and we got the thumbs up to start building towards the final spacecraft. So that's what the history is. Hopefully in 6 months' time, we're going to be launching for the moon, and if we get it right, landing on the moon as well. That's us. We started off as a loosely connected bunch of 4, 5, 6 people. Over the last 6 years, we've grown into 120 full-time engineers. 24 of them are retired ISRO scientists. So I was talking about how disruption is usually taken to be throughout what exists. I think what we've got here is a fantastic mix. We've got retired ISRO scientists with 35, 40 years of experience of building this kind of technology, heading departments, and we have -1 to +5 years of experience of people who are just out of college. Like 120 people today are building something which would take about 10 times that many number of people inside, if I may use the term, a space agency. So that's the power of putting together a purpose. That's the power of tying everybody and saying what we do here is far bigger than us. Interesting validations along the way, and so ISRO is obviously a huge partner, huge supporter. The French Space Agency, French haven't landed on the moon. They're not going to the moon before 2021, 22. So they said, would you carry our cameras on board your mission? So the eyes of our rover are cameras, which are French cameras. University of Colorado Boulder, and again, if there are any space buffs, they manage the Kepler missions. You've been hearing about new planets being discovered. That's because there is a Kepler satellite out there looking for those planets. So they manage Kepler missions. We're using their software. To manage our mission. That's Hakuto. That's the Japanese team. They do not, as you saw, there is a rover, spacecraft, and a launch vehicle. They only have a rover. So we're carrying the Japanese rover on board our spacecraft and will drop them on the surface of the moon. They do not have a spacecraft or a launch vehicle. So just some of the things that we picked up as we went along. It's been a very, very interesting journey for us, and we do have a small Q&A at the end of this, but I'd like to break here, and I've done a lot of technology, break here and talk about why this is unique, why this is interesting, and why this needs to be celebrated. We're a small team, beaten long odds to come this far. We could still fail between now and launch, and there would still probably be a million things that could go wrong between launch and touchdown. But to me, this is the true embodiment of the spirit that the new India has, what you'd see when you visit India, when you speak to the young people over there. So what I have is a quick 3-minute, and we call this as the Team Indus anthem. Ram Sampath, anybody here knows Ram Sampath? So Ram Sampath has done an anthem for us, just playing that as a quick clip. And the next segment is about how can you get involved with our mission? So we could play the clip. Volume.
झांको दहलीज से तो दिखेगा आसमां, खुली खुली सी ज़मीं, सपनों का कारवां। मुमकिन लगे ख्वाब जो होता वो ख्वाब कहा, सुनी ना किसी ने जो लिखे ऐसी दास्तां, खोलो जरा खिड़कियां तो दिखेगा आसमां, सुनी ना किसी ने जो लिखे ऐसी दास्तां, खोलो जरा खिड़कियां तो दिखेगा आसमां। जो रस्ते हैं बने हुए क्यों नहीं पर चलना है, जिद है तो फिर जिद ही सही, फलक से आगे बढ़ना है। रुके रुके ना कहीं, ऐसी तेरी हो उड़ान, सुनी ना किसी ने जो लिखे ऐसी दास्तां, खोलो जरा खिड़कियां तो दिखेगा आसमां, सुनी ना किसी ने जो लिखे ऐसी दास्तां, खोलो जरा खिड़कियां तो दिखेगा आसमां।
Thank you. I know some of you probably don't understand Hindi, but I'm assuming a whole lot of you got what that was talking about. Can you switch back to the presentation, please? Thank you. Great. So I said, I'll talk about how can you be part of this, and this is an invitation. It's not a sales pitch. It's an invitation for any of you who are interested to come be part of it. We're launching a campaign called Moonshot 1. The claim is that if you went through this campaign, you'd be a part rocket scientist by the time you're done with this campaign. It talks about 1,500 people who'd be part of this across 4 locations. And we're building the most exciting part of our mission at multiple different locations. So starting off, I think one of the earliest things that I always wanted to do was be part of the command center when the launch happens. I think there's a lot of hard work and toil that goes into building the engineering, and then there is a lot of boring stuff that happens after the launch. But the most exciting part is to be part of a command center when we launch. So we said, why don't we turn this around and turn it into a package that many more people can come and be part of. So we're creating 4 command centers as of right now, basis the demand that we have in Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, and San Francisco. If there is enough signups from Abu Dhabi, happy to do a command center in Abu Dhabi as well. So this is what it is about. It's, come visit a spacecraft development facility. You've done many tours, you've visited many different places. So this will allow you to come visit and look at how do you build a spacecraft, what kind of machines do you need, what kind of people do you need, and how do you go about building a spacecraft. The second part of it is obviously to understand the technology, and what you saw over here were just 3 slides, but we're happy to take people through how this is built, how could you, simulate some of this, do it at your own pace, and so on and so forth. The third part, and again, the very interesting part of what we do is the rover. And we have a lot of requests from people who want to build it, assemble it, learn more about it, learn more about the navigation, and so on and so forth. So one set of things that we do around the rover is to have workshops where people can come in and learn how to assemble the rover itself. This is a snapshot of our command center, and who you see over there are the judges when they came last month. This is the command center in our facility from which the actual mission will be controlled. A replica of this is what we'll put across 4 different cities, and we're inviting people to come and be. So it's like if any of you listening in that we have, but going to be performing this live. We have a whole bunch of other acts coming along with him, and without Nachna Gana Bajana, I don't think any Indian event is complete. So be sure to have a fair share of the Nachna Gana as well. NASA geologists use mixed reality. You would have heard of augmented reality, virtual reality. There's something called as mixed reality. This is the Microsoft HoloLens technology. They use it to study, the soil or the surrounding of the Mars rover. We're going to use it to have a little bit of fun, because this is about making space accessible, For us, the hiring of the team started in 2012. That's when you go out and look for bright young kids who have the fire in the belly to do something different, motivate them enough to put their heads down and actually solve such a complex problem. I could keep going on, but in the interest of time, Krishnan, do we have any more time for any more questions? Okay, sure. Yeah.
Hi, Ram. I'm a banker, so my question is finance. How much is this kind of project really, in all, will cost you in totality? I mean, I don't want to know into the financing bit of it, but roughly a ballpark number.
The entire mission?
Yeah.
About 500 crores.
Which is $5 million?
$70 million. $70 million, 500 crores. Okay. Still an order of magnitude cheaper than what it would cost a space agency.
Great. Well done.
Great. Thank you so much.
Suresh, Suresh, we would like to know who is the other person who competed with Rahul Narayan.
Involved in the NASA project, and he successfully launched the Keynote
16, okay.
Texas, USA, and he was part of the team Udan.
Wonderful.
Where is he?
Wonderful.
Can he raise his hand? Yeah. Oh, okay, wonderful, wonderful. That's great. Please come in, please come in. May I request CS Srinivas HR, our past chairman, and Rajiv Dattar to come and hand over a memento to Mr. Rahul Narayan.
Hi. We should catch up later. Great.
going to be by Mr. Saad Usmani. I'll invite Mr. C. Amit from our committee to introduce Mr. Saad Usmani.
Good evening all. We had a very full 2 wonderful sessions. We wish Mr. Rahul Narayan all the best for his creating Apollo India movement. Now would I like to introduce Mr. Saad Usmani, who is from Commercial Bank of Dubai, our title sponsor. May I request Priyanka to play the video, please.
Mr. Saad Usmani. Mr. Saad Usmani is a seasoned treasury and financial market professional with over 16 years' experience in the GCC banking sector. He has been associated with top-tier multinational institutions like Callion Credit Agricole and Standard Chartered. Over his long career, he advised a wide array of clients, including commercial and private banks, insurance companies, SWFs, and large corporates on risk management, hedging, and cost reduction solutions, specifically pertaining to FX, interest rates, and commodities. In his years with Standard Chartered, he headed financial markets business for Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, and made significant contributions to the development and growth of local derivatives market. At Callion Credit Agricole, he led the interest rate derivatives and hybrids business for MENA region and extensively worked with banks and financial institutions on risk management and hedging solutions. Mr. Saad recently joined Commercial Bank of Dubai and heads the corporate and commercial treasury sales business. Mr. Saad is a CFA charter holder and also holds an MBA with specialization in finance. He was the founding member and vice president of UAE chapter of CFA Institute and represented it in various global seminars and meetings.
Please welcome Mr. Saad Usmani.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. First, let me start with congratulating Rahul for such an inspirational presentation and wish him all the best and for the moon landing. And I'm from the other side of the border. I'm from Pakistan, so on behalf of my country and from me, I think I wish you all the best. I think it's a very inspirational for you. But what you've done is you've made my life very difficult, really. I mean, you know, after talking about Star Trek and space and moon landing, my topic looks mundane and rather unimportant to me. It's very, very earthly to talk about economy and interest rates. Well, I'll try my best, and I'll try to keep it short. I know we are towards where we're getting close to the dinner time. Initially, so. Before I delve into the presentation, the idea was originally, and if you look at our agendas, I think the idea was to talk about an economic update and give you a flavor of what's happening in the economy. You guys are all chartered accountants, very, very distinguished people. You already are quite familiar with what's happening, but just give you an overall sense of what's happening in the economy. But over the weekend, as I was, and that's why you see global economy scenario or something in your agendas. But when over the weekend I was going through my own personal finances and I was looking at my expenses, and the DIVA bill keeps going up and the school fees keeps going up, and one more thing I kind of spotted, which somebody who's been in the business long enough should know, is that my mortgage payment keeps going up, and you see it on month-on-month basis keeps going up, and you realize that the increase in cost of borrowing hits directly, personally. I was trying to do a bit of mathematics around it, and I noticed that, the cost of borrowing has gone up from, say 3%, 3.5%, what was a year and a half back for me personally, to about 5%, which is, if you think about it, is about 25, 30% increase in my borrowing cost. I don't know about you guys chartered accountants, you guys paid well. My salary doesn't go up by 25%, and I'll blame Riot for this, you know. Thank you. I think there was a realization that I think this topic will become a lot more relevant for all of us, a lot more interesting for all of us. If we try to link what's happening in the global economy and to see how it directly affects us individually as well as the businesses we run, the companies, their finances, we operate, and see what's the linkage and how we can look at this particular interest rate risk and try to see how we manage it. So we started, so I've tweaked the topic a bit, and we'll talk a bit about risk management here. The presentation, we'll try to move rather quickly. We're going to look at the global economy basically, and I focus more on the U.S. Not only because the U.S. is the biggest economy in the world, but U.S. monetary policy is very closely tied to our monetary policy. So the borrowing cost that increases in the U.S. has a very direct, very close impact to ours because of the dollar-dirham peg. So I've analyzed a bit more on the U.S. market. I'll touch upon other economies as well, but not in that detail. Then we'll look at risk management a bit, the methodologies, the identification, and etc. And then we'll quickly move into a few tools which are used in the market. Some of you probably are familiar with those tools, and we'll basically end it there. So this is the first thing is a global economy overview. We've come out, we don't realize it, but after the 2008-2009 financial crisis, we actually have done quite well, and we should be thanking our lucky stars. We should be feeling very, very relieved, because the kind of mess we had gotten ourselves into. And no, we are not blaming bankers, not today at least. As you can see in that chart, the GDP had really collapsed, and this is a global, combined aggregate global economic chart. So the GDP had really collapsed. We were in a recession situation, but over the period of the last, from 2009 to now, we have gradually come out. The recovery has been modest. It has not been a sharp recovery. If you can see, especially 2010 till now, it's been 2%, 3% global growth. But we have had a very, very solid, I would say, recovery. And if I have to give credit for that, so one more point is that the recovery has been synchronized. We did not see a situation where we have a recovery happening in US but not happening in emerging markets, or not happening in Eurozone, and so on and so forth. It has been fairly synchronized recovery. And the reason of that is, I think, in the first time in the history, we have seen such a globally well-coordinated coordination between central banks, be it the US Fed, be it Bank of Japan, be it Bank of England, be it ECB, be it UAE Central Bank. They all went into a crisis management mode and have tried to support the economy by reducing the interest rate, by doing quantitative easing, by a variety of steps that have been taken. And the result of that is the whole global economy has basically not only survived, but actually recovered. And now we are seeing signs of acceleration in growth. So I think central banks' coordination is the word, I think, was a key factor here. So we've reached a point where now we are looking at a very cautious tightening cycle has started. So we've seen Bank of England raising interest rate. We have seen US Fed increase interest rates. Already twice. We are expecting another one in December. So that's the global situation. That has happened across the board.
Now I'll just go a little bit deeper into the US, and we'll look at the key aspects of the economy. So economic growth, I think I've touched upon it. We've seen GDP growth has averaged around 2% over the last 5 years. Nothing to write home about, to be honest, but certainly much better than what we were, the mess we were in 2008, 2009. Am I echoing a lot? Okay, sorry. The Q3 numbers, which have just come out, actually show a growth of 3% versus a 2.6% in 2016, which showed there is now that recovery, which has been quite flattish and sluggish, is actually picking pace a bit in the US. Going forward, we're talking about, in the Donald Trump's world, we're talking about massive deregulation, we're talking about tax reform, and there's a huge capital spending cycle, which is the pent-up demand of the capital expenditure that hasn't happened. So is likely to lead the extension of this modest economic growth. We move to the labor market and unemployment. So labor market unemployment, again, is sustained job creation. And if you look at this chart, which is the non-farm payroll data on a month-on-month basis, you will see from 2010 onwards, there has been a consistent job creation of at least 200,000 a month. Phenomenal performance. If you really think about it, phenomenal performance. Every single month. I mean, there have been few months of 100,000 or 80,000, but consistently 200,000 average jobs have been created. The unemployment is now lowest in a decade. And you see, this is the blue chart is the unemployment chart. With a peak of 10% unemployment, we are reaching now 4.1%. Now that 4.1% is considered full employment. So the things, despite what we hear and what we feel sometimes, things actually are quite good, especially considering where we were in 2008, 2009. Average hourly earnings has also inched up a bit, albeit quite slowly, but it has inched up. Oops. Another key data, inflation. Now, so you have a very steady economic growth. You have consistent job creation. And what it leads to is, it should lead to, is inflation. There things have gone a little disappointing, if I can use that word. This inflation remains stubbornly low, below the 2% mark that US Fed targets, that wants to have. It has been, and despite the low interest rates, despite quantitative easing, despite bond purchase program, it hasn't picked up. Why? There are a lot of theories, of course. I mean, I don't claim to be a hardcore economist to give you 15 theories on why it hasn't happened. The jury's out there. Everybody has a view. The view that makes more sense to me is that it is difficult for wage inflation to take off, for inflation to take off till wage inflation kicks in. And the wage inflation doesn't kick in till there is excess capacity in the economy. So what the first step has happened is that the excess capacity is being absorbed, which means people are getting jobs and jobs and jobs, and we are reaching full employment. And once you reach full employment, that is the time to sell. So all this good news leads to spending for us. So if you see the Fed funds rate, which is the U.S. central bank's rate, it has remained from 2008 to 2015 at pretty much 0.25% or 0 to 0.25%. It has started slowly inching up. This year we've had 2 rate hikes. We are expecting 1 more. We expect another 3 rate hikes in 2018. However, if you look at the market-determined LIBOR rate, which is what the two counterparties, there we have seen a much sharper increase from 0.3%, where it lingered for the longest of time. It has reached now 1.4%. That's the other chart here and the end. And that is in anticipation that inflation is now kicking in. So we are seeing, this is the aspect which makes my cost and your cost borrowing goes up. But again, this is on the back of the economic activity that we are seeing. This is a very interesting chart. I mean, you know, it's what we call an implied forward chart. Sorry, this is a dot chart, implied dot chart. This is, and these dots represent the view of the Fed governors on where the interest rates will be. So it's not my view. It's not a view of an individual layman. It's a view of the Fed governors for the U.S. economy. And you can see that it's quite diverse, but there is a consensus that the rates are going to go are on the upward trajectory, which is a good sign. That means there is a sustainability of the economic expansion. There are people like John Taylor, who was almost considered very strongly by Donald Trump to replace Janet Yellen for the governor, who think interest rates are really, really low, and he's at the higher end of the market, and he thinks the rates should be very, very much higher than we are right now. But just to give you an idea where we are heading in terms of rates. The Eurozone economy, so that's the U.S. economy. Overall, I think a good story. The same thing is happening in Eurozone, although Europe is a weird zone, really. It's a two-paced zone. So you have one, Germany and France, who actually are growing very, very slowly. But on the other hand, what good has happened is that the periphery economies, the Czech Republic, the Portugal, some of these countries have actually are growing very, very fast. So the result is that we are seeing a very stable, very solid recovery in the European economies as well. There's a spike in growth. They are sizing down the pace of asset purchases, which is the quantitative easing bit. So I think the European economy is also on the uptick. The Japanese economy also has improved. The inflation is steadily inching up. UK is slightly. There are very clear signs of inflation there. They are doing. And my personal view, and don't hold me on that, but I have not seen, at least in my lifetime, a nation shooting itself on the foot and basically taking a suicidal mission by doing Brexit. I think it's a terrible thing to do. So, but so that is a real hangover, but it has already started affecting their inflation, and hence the interest rates have started going up. So we are talking about a situation where the growth is not there, but the interest rates have started to go up. So they did a 25 basis point rate hike by Bank of England 2 weeks back, Amir. 3 weeks back, 2 weeks back, in the first time in decades. So I think you can see across the developed economies there's an increase in interest rates. Going forward, state of the economy, we think a continued expansion and continued increase in rates. And we think that the policymakers of other developed economies will have to follow in line with the US economies. The normalization of policies will obviously come at cost for high leveraged entities and households. They'll bear the brunt. And I'll give you an example. I mean, last week I was in a meeting with a client of ours who basically is a very simple business. He basically has tons of buildings, who basically residential stroke commercial, who rents it out and collects rent and finances everything with bank borrowings. And he always thought bank borrowing is so cheap, and he's having a fantastic time. Now he's getting a double whammy. The rents are going down, and quite drastically, in Dubai at least. And his borrowing cost is starting to inch up. And his margin is really, really getting squeezed, And those are so those people who basically are over leveraged, if I can use the term, will get affected. So this is a bit of an economic scene, just to contextualize, if I can use that word. Now we go into something which is what do we do with this interest rate risk? So we all are sitting on this interest rate. We all have to worry about it. We all should think about it at least, if we do nothing. I can't do anything about my mortgage. I have to just live with it and hope that the interest rate don't go up so much. or I get a good bonus. But, other than that, there's not much I can do about it. But the risk identification determination is an important activity, and that is what I'd like to emphasize. I would like to, if any takeaway from this session should be that it's very important to identify and quantify the risk. The risk of loss volatility due to changes in market interest rates, that's as simply an interest rate risk. It can have a variety of impact. Now we'll talk more in terms of corporates. You guys run finances and you own businesses. It obviously has an impact on your borrowing cost, which obviously has impact on your cash flows, on your profitability, your banking covenants, your solvency. And sometimes this guy with I think 11, 12 building is a clear example. If interest rates jump up by 3%, I can tell you that he will go bankrupt despite owning 11 buildings, because his margins are too tight and he's overly leveraged. So that becomes a problem. Debt capacity miscalculations, because you end up taking a lot more debt in the assumption that the rates will not go up. So I think these are things that you need to look at when you're looking at interest rate risk. What methodologies that you use? So basically, it's a very it's a very methodical. I mean, a lot of it is intuitive. A lot of people you do already in your personal lives, in your professional lives. But but essentially, basically, a method to it. There should be some method to madness, as they say. So basically, you analyze the capital structure and debt profile of your finances or your company's finances. You identify and you quantify risk, which basically means looking at natural hedges. If you have asset lying around, which basically benefits from interest rate increase, if you have correlated assets which benefit you, then you need to basically quantify what kind of, the tools like value at risk, the DVO1, what we call it, the sensitivity to interest rate, those things, you basically do that. Then you determine optimal fixed and floating debt mix. You look at that and see what kind of a mix you want. I mean, you will see all these big companies issuing bonds on a fixed rate basis. That is this thing going into action. They borrow on floating with banks, they borrow on fixed rate in the capital markets. For their formulation of hedging strategy and identification of most suitable hedging strategies. So what is the best way to hedge myself, or how much I should hedge? What currency should I hedge? What underlying should I hedge? Who should I hedge with? For how long should I hedge? Whole rows of questions that come into it. And then at the end is efficient hedge execution, because this kind of thing is bespoke, is done in what we call an OTC, the over-the-counter market. There is no stock market where you can buy something and you are clear. So this is done. Efficient execution is a very important factor in this because your exposure is pretty bespoke, is only unique to you. Hence, the solution of that has to be very unique and very bespoke. And this creates inefficiency in execution sometimes. We'll just quickly touch upon a few tools which are commonly used in the market. We as an institution use for our balance sheet management very, very commonly. FRA, for example, which is a short form for a forward rate agreement, very commonly used for short tenor risk management. All the insurance companies, asset managers, fund managers, banks, you will find them a very liquid market, trillions of dollars traded on a given day. Swap, which is by definition means exchange, so exchange of cash flows, usually for medium to long tenor, over-the-counter market, is customized, bespoke. Options, which is essentially buying insurances, right to buy protection, payment against payment of premium, and you have two types. You have the caps and the floors. The one aspect which I would like to identify is that some of the institutions have a problem while they actually benefit when the interest rates go up. So if you are an insurance company who has surplus funds lying around, or if you're a pension fund who has surplus funds lying around in the fixed income market, or you want to generate, you actually benefit where the interest rates go up. So in those places, maybe cap is not, you're not worried about interest rate going up, you're worried about interest rate going down. So then things like floor becomes a lot more useful for you because you want to protect from any downward move for interest rate. I will very quickly skim through the two tools which are most commonly used, just to give you an example of how it is done. We have assumed a client has $100 million exposure for say a 5-year period, and he is basically paying 3-month LIBOR plus a credit spread. His risk is that if the 3-month LIBOR continues to go up, his cost of borrowing goes up. So he goes ahead basically and does an interest rate swap with a counterparty where they basically they exchange cash flows that you receive 3-month LIBOR and pay fixed rate. So the 3-month LIBOR basically crosses it out and you end up with a fixed rate payment, which means you're a perfect hedge and your exposure is completely protected. You go home, sleep, you don't care where the interest rate market is going. Another one is where you create a range kind of thing. Your interest rates will always remain within a range. So again, you become immune to what happens in the interest rate market and you move on with it. So this is how a quick summary of what's out there. I hope you liked it. I'm sure not as much as you enjoyed Rahul's. Thank you very much, Rahul. If there's any questions, I'm here. I think we've reached a time. No, we've reached. This is food time. So thank you very much, Aditya.
May I request our past chairman, Mr. Rajiv Shah, and Mr. Ankit to come over to the stage to hand over memento to Mr. Saad. Thank you, Mr. Saad.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are going to have a raffle session. May I request all of you to wait for another 10-15 minutes before we close for dinner. Ankit. Let's see who's going to be the lucky winner on our raffle session.
Hi, good evening. We have the raffle draws. This raffle is sponsored by our sponsor, the Royal Orchid Group. Priyanka, can we have the raffle set, please? First winner, Mr. C.A. Ramesh Krishnan.
Neeraj, can you?
Second raffle, please. C.A. Jimmy Podhan James. C.A. Jimmy Podhan James.
Jimmy, are you here? Can we have you on the stage? Next name, please.
Sandeep Prabhakar. C.A. Sandeep Prabhakar. C.A. Sandeep Prabhakar. Next, please. C.A. Satishan. C.A. Satishan K.R. C.A. Satishan K.R. Next, please. C.A. Singh Alok. C.A. Alok Singh.
C.A. Alok Singh, please come to the stage.
Please come to the stage.
Can we have a clap for CA Alok Singh, please?
Our next CA Deepak Kumar Yadav. Congratulations, Deepak.
Next.
Next, please. Again, CA Alok Singh.
Next.
CA Balaguru. CA Balaguru. Next, please.
CA Rajesh Sanjeev Prabhu.
CA Rajesh. Yeah, he's here. Clapping, please.
Can we have a big round of applause, please?
CA Ankit to do the honors. Please invite us for the dinner when you
Next
go.
one, please. CA Pankaj Ramchandani. CA Pankaj. Next one, please. Last कर दो बस इसको। ठीक है छोड़ो ना। नहीं हो रहा तो। हार्दिक, CA Hardik.